They say that every journey begins with a single step. But what if that step leads you to the very edge of the world? Imagine standing on the rugged cliffs of Newfoundland, where the vast Atlantic Ocean crashes against the rocks below, and the air is filled with the scent of salt and adventure. This is a place where the horizon seems to stretch endlessly, a frontier where stories of discovery, resilience, and the whispers of history converge. As we embark on this exploration of Newfoundland, we find ourselves immersed in a land rich with legends and the echoes of those who came before. The arrival in Newfoundland is not just a geographical landing, it is a passage into a world woven with the fabric of time, where the past and present dance in harmony. There's a magic that envelops this rugged island, a magic that has captivated explorers, settlers, and dreamers for centuries. With every wave that crashes against its shores, a story is told. A story of Vikings, indigenous peoples, European explorers, and settlers. Today, we will unravel these tales, beginning with the moment when the first footsteps graced this pristine land. Our journey begins in the early days of the 11th century, when Norse explorers, led by the fearless Leif Erikson, are said to have landed on these shores. They called it Vinland, a name that conjures images of lush landscapes and fertile fields. The ancient sagas speak of a land rich with resources, a paradise waiting to be claimed. But as we know, paradise can be elusive, often overshadowed by the relentless march of time and the tides of fate. Fast forward nearly a millennium to the late 15th century, when the world was awakening to the possibilities of exploration. The age of discovery was in full swing, and the allure of the New World beckoned to adventurers from across the Atlantic. Among them was John Cabot, an Italian navigator sailing under the English flag. In the year 1497, he set his sights on Newfoundland, believing he had stumbled upon a path to riches beyond imagination. Picture this: a fleet of ships navigating the treacherous waters of the North Atlantic, their sails billowing in the wind, hearts pounding with anticipation. As Cabot and his crew approached the shores of Newfoundland, they were met with a breathtaking sight: towering cliffs, vast forests, and the promise of a new beginning. It was a moment that would alter the course of history forever. As Cabot stepped onto this new land, he was not merely planting a flag, he was sowing the seeds of a future that would witness waves of migration and settlement. The arrival of European settlers marked the beginning of a complex relationship with the indigenous peoples who had thrived here for millennia. The Beothuk, Mi'kmaq, and other nations had lived in harmony with the land, drawing sustenance from its bountiful resources. The clash of cultures was inevitable. As the settlers sought to carve out their existence, the delicate balance that had existed for centuries began to shift. The indigenous peoples faced new challenges, their way of life disrupted by the arrival of those who sought to claim the land as their own. It is a poignant reminder that the story of Newfoundland is not just one of exploration and discovery, but also one of resilience and survival. Navigating through this narrative, we find ourselves in the bustling fishing communities that sprang up along the coastline. The rich waters of the North Atlantic became a lifeblood for the settlers, who depended on the ocean's bounty for their survival. Towns like St. John's emerged as vibrant hubs of activity, where fishermen would haul in their catch, and merchants would trade goods from distant lands. Imagine the scene: colourful wooden houses lining the shore, the salty breeze carrying the laughter of children playing on the docks. Fishermen, with faces weathered by the sun and sea, share tales of their adventures on the water, while women gather to exchange recipes and stories, weaving a tapestry of community life. Here, every person has a story, every wave carries a memory, and the spirit of Newfoundland comes alive. Yet, life on this edge of the world is not without its challenges. The harsh realities of the North Atlantic can be unforgiving. The weather, unpredictable and wild, can turn a calm day into a tempest in mere moments. The struggle against nature is woven into the very fabric of Newfoundland's identity. The resilience of its people shines through as they adapt, innovate, and persevere against the odds. As we delve deeper into the heart of Newfoundland, we encounter the echoes of history that resonate through its landscapes. The remnants of old fishing stages and the ruins of abandoned settlements speak volumes about the lives once lived here. Each crumbling wall and weathered plank tells a story of dreams and aspirations, of families who sought a better life on this rugged shore. Yet, all is not lost. Today, Newfoundland stands as a testament to the enduring spirit of its people. The vibrant culture that has emerged from this confluence of histories is a celebration of diversity and resilience. From traditional music echoing through the streets to the arts flourishing in every corner, the spirit of Newfoundland is alive and thriving. As we explore this enchanting land, we are invited to partake in its traditions, to hear the songs that tell tales of the sea, and to savor the flavors of its culinary heritage. Each dish served at the table carries with it the essence of the land and the sea, a reflection of the journey that brought us here. The hearty fish and bruis, the delectable toutons, and the sweet, sticky molasses pie are not just meals, they are narratives of survival, of adaptation, and of the love for a land that has given so much. In this moment, standing on the precipice of the world, we are reminded that Newfoundland is not merely a destination. It is a living, breathing entity, steeped in stories that span generations. The pulse of the island reverberates through its landscapes, its people, and its history, inviting us to listen, to learn, and to appreciate the beauty of this rugged paradise. As we prepare to journey onward, let us carry with us the essence of Newfoundland, a spirit forged in the crucible of history, a testament to the resilience of its people, and a land that continues to inspire all who dare to venture to its shores. The edge of the world awaits, and with it, the promise of new adventures and untold stories. Join us as we set sail for the next chapter in our voyage through this extraordinary place where every wave whispers a story and every shore holds a mystery waiting to be uncovered. What does it take to rewrite history? For Helga and Anstein Ingstad, the answer lay buried beneath the frost and mud of Newfoundland, waiting patiently for the right pair of hands to unearth it. As the 1960s dawned, the world was on the brink of change, but buried deep in the past was a story that would illuminate the Norse exploration of North America, a chapter long forgotten by time. In the spring of 1960, Helga Ingstad, an adventurous Norwegian explorer and author, stood on the rugged shores of the northern tip of Newfoundland, a remote landscape shaped by relentless winds and crashing waves. He had come seeking the legendary Vinland, a land mentioned in the sagas written centuries earlier, where the Norse were said to have found abundant resources and lush pastures. Armed with little more than a map, his instincts and the lingering echoes of ancient tales, Helga embarked on a quest that would soon lead him to an astonishing discovery. The winds howled around him as he traced the coastline, his eyes scanning the horizon for signs of a Viking settlement. The legends had tantalized historians and adventurers alike for generations, but few had ventured to seek the truth. Helga was drawn not just by the allure of exploration, but also by the spirit of adventure that intertwined with the stories of his ancestors. With each step he took, he felt the weight of history pressing down on him, urging him to continue. As fate would have it, Helga was not alone in his pursuits. His wife, Anne Steiner, a skilled archaeologist in her own right, shared his passion for discovery and the thrill of unearthing the past. Together, they forged a partnership that would become legendary. Anne Stein, with her sharp intellect and keen eye for detail, complemented Helga's adventurous spirit. Their shared dream became a mission that would challenge the very foundations of what was known about Viking exploration. The couple's journey took them to a site called Meadows, a location that would soon reveal its secrets. At first glance, it appeared little more than a collection of windswept grass and stone. But as they began to excavate, the landscape transformed under their careful scrutiny. Each shovelful of earth brought forth remnants of a long-lost civilization, iron nails, a spindle whorl, and tantalizing fragments of a structure that could only be described as a dwelling. As the days turned into weeks, the Ingstads meticulously pieced together the puzzle. They worked tirelessly, their hands caked in dirt and their spirits buoyed by the promise of discovery. The chilling winds of Newfoundland felt less biting against their determination. What emerged from the ground was not just evidence of human habitation, but a story of courage, exploration, and the enduring spirit of the Vikings. To the untrained eye, these artifacts might have seemed insignificant, mere remnants of a bygone era, but for Helga and Anna Steiner, they were priceless clues. Each item whispered tales of the past. The iron nails suggested shipbuilding techniques that had crossed the Atlantic, while the artifacts hinted at a community that thrived in this unforgiving landscape. They were not just archaeologists, they were storytellers, bringing to life a narrative that had faded into obscurity. Their discovery would ignite a firestorm of interest in Viking history, drawing scholars, journalists, and curious onlookers from around the world. The media buzzed with excitement as the Ingstads began to share their findings. No longer were the Norse merely mythical figures of lore. They were real explorers who had ventured into the unknown, leaving their mark on the new world long before Columbus set sail. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the excavation site, a profound realization washed over Helga and Anna Steiner. They had not just stumbled upon a settlement, they had unearthed a vital piece of history that would reshape the understanding of Norse exploration. They stood hand in hand, gazing at the site with a mixture of pride and awe, knowing that their work would inspire generations to come. News of their groundbreaking discovery spread like wildfire. Scholars debated the implications, while the public marveled at the evidence that the Vikings had indeed reached North America nearly 1,000 years before. This revelation challenged preconceived notions about the age of exploration and the geographical boundaries of history. Suddenly, the Vikings were no longer relegated to the realms of myth. They were pioneers, navigating the treacherous waters of the North Atlantic, driven by the spirit of adventure and the promise of new lands. With each new find, the Ingstads' reputation grew. They became the faces of a new wave of historical understanding, bridging the gap between legend and fact. Their work challenged the established narratives, inviting others to reconsider what they thought they knew about the past. It was a thrilling time for historians and archaeologists alike, as the Ingstads opened the door to a rich tapestry of human exploration that had long been overlooked. But with great discovery came great scrutiny. Critics questioned the authenticity of the artifacts, debating whether they could truly be linked to the Norse. Undeterred, the Ingstads continued their work, meticulously documenting every find and sharing their methodology with the academic community. They understood that history is a dialogue, one that thrives on questions and challenges. As the years rolled on, their findings at Meadows became more than just a local curiosity. They became a cornerstone of Viking studies. The site was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, preserving its legacy for future generations. Helga and Anna Steiner had not only found a piece of their heritage, but had also carved a path for others to follow, their tenacity and passion igniting a new era of exploration. The story of their discovery resonates deeply, a testament to the power of curiosity and the courage to pursue the unknown. In a world often consumed by the present, the Ingstads remind us that history is an ever-evolving narrative, shaped by those willing to dig deeper, to question, and to seek the truth. Their journey stands as a beacon for explorers, historians, and dreamers everywhere, encouraging us to look beyond the surface and discover the wonders that lie beneath. As we reflect on the legacy of Helga and Anna Steiner Ingstad, we are reminded that the quest for knowledge is boundless. It is a journey that transcends time, connecting us with our ancestors and inviting us to continue the exploration of our world. The echoes of the past call to us, urging us to pick up the tools of discovery and to unearth the stories waiting to be told. In every artifact, every excavation, lies the potential to reshape our understanding of who we are and where we come from. The adventure does not end here. It is only the beginning. What if I told you that centuries before Columbus set sail, a group of intrepid explorers from the north reached the shores of North America? These were not just any travelers. They were the Norsemen, whose sagas of adventure, conquest, and discovery have echoed through time, leaving behind tantalizing clues of a land they called Vinland. The Norse sagas, epic narratives born from the minds of ancient storytellers, are not merely tales of gods and heroes. They are windows into a world rich with exploration and ambition. Among these legends lies the account of Leif Erikson, a man who defied the limits of his time, driven by a thirst for discovery that would lead him across the turbulent seas of the North Atlantic. A name that resonates in the annals of history, Leif's journey to Vinland beckons us to unravel the mysteries surrounding this fabled land. As we delve into these sagas, we find ourselves amidst the cold winds and rugged terrain of the Norse homelands, where the fire of creativity burned brightly in the long, dark winters. The tales of Vinland emerged from the oral traditions of the Norse, passed down through generations, capturing the imaginations of those who heard them. They speak of a lush, verdant paradise, a stark contrast to the icy realms of the north, where grapes grew wild and where the land seemed to promise a new beginning. But what was this Vinland? Was it a mere figment of imagination, a place crafted by the hopes of weary adventurers? Or was it a real destination, one that holds the secrets of Norse exploration? The sagas tell us of the voyages of Leif Erikson, who, inspired by tales of an unknown land discovered by his father Eric the Red, set forth from Greenland in the year 1000. As we trace his imagined footsteps across the icy waters, we can almost feel the salt spray of the ocean and hear the creak of the longship as it cuts through the waves. The sagas recount how Ericsson and his crew first landed on a shore they named Helluland, which translates to Land of Flat Stones. Today, many scholars speculate that this could refer to the rugged coast of Baffin Island in Canada. From there, Ericsson's journey continued to a place he called Markland, or Land of Woods, which is believed to be the dense forests of Newfoundland. These geographic markers serve as the first breadcrumbs leading us deeper into the mystery of Vinland. But it is in the next chapter of Ericsson's adventure that the story takes a more tantalizing turn. The Norse sagas tell us that after Markland, the explorers arrived at Vinland itself, a place of abundance, where they found fields ripe with grapes, and the land was warm enough to sustain life. In a time when survival was a daily struggle, this land seemed like a dream come true. It was a land where the Norse could thrive, where they could cultivate and settle, far away from the harshness of their homelands. Yet the question looms large. How did the Norsemen describe this bountiful land? The sagas are rich in detail, but they often blur the lines between myth and reality. Descriptions of golden fields, plentiful fishing, and friendly encounters with indigenous peoples paint a picture of an idyllic paradise. These accounts, while captivating, also challenge historians and archaeologists to distinguish fact from embellishment. The Norse sagas, while steeped in legend, have led us to archaeological sites that provide tangible evidence of Norse presence in North America. One of the most significant discoveries occurred at Meadows, located on the northern tip of Newfoundland. Here, the remnants of a Norse settlement were unearthed, complete with the remains of longhouses, tools, and even remnants of ironworking. This site, recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, stands as a testament to the reality of Norse exploration, suggesting that Vinland was not merely a myth, but a place where the Norse once lived and thrived. However, the story does not end with the discovery of Meadows. The artifacts and structures found here provide crucial insights into the daily lives of these explorers. The remains of a forge, for instance, suggest that they not only sought to explore, but also to establish a foothold in this new land. What motivated them to take such bold steps? The sagas might suggest adventure alone, but the harsh realities of their northern homelands likely played a significant role. The pursuit of resources, land, and new opportunities drove these seafaring people to venture into the unknown. Yet, what about the inhabitants of Vinland? The sagas hint at encounters between the Norse and the indigenous peoples of North America, whom they referred to as Skraelings. These interactions were not always peaceful, and the stories speak of skirmishes and conflict. The Norse, accustomed to their own way of life, found themselves in a fragile balance with the native tribes. The complexities of these relationships paint a vivid picture of cultural exchange, conflict, and survival as both groups navigated the challenges of coexistence. As we delve deeper into the saga of Vinland, we must also confront the darker aspects of exploration. The Norse did not merely seek to coexist, they were also conquerors, driven by a desire for land and resources. The tales of Vinland reveal both the beauty of discovery and the shadows of conflict that lingered in its wake. The Norse expansion into North America was not a singular event, but part of a broader narrative of exploration, colonization, and the human penchant for adventure. The journey to understand Vinland is also a reflection of our own quest for identity and belonging. As modern-day explorers, we seek to connect with our past, to understand the stories that have shaped our present. The Norse sagas remind us that exploration is not just about the lands we discover. It is about the connections we forge, the cultures we encounter, and the lessons we learn along the way. So, what can we truly learn from the Norse sagas and their quest for Vinland? The echoes of their adventures resonate through time, urging us to embrace the spirit of exploration that lies within us all. Whether we traverse the seas or navigate the complexities of our own lives, the essence of discovery remains a powerful force. As we honor the legacy of those who dared to venture into the unknown, we are reminded that the journey itself is often as significant as the destination. In the end, the Norse sagas are more than tales of the past. They are a call to adventure, a reminder that the world is vast and full of possibilities. The search for Vinland may have begun centuries ago, but its spirit lives on, inviting us to explore, to question, and to dream. As we close this chapter on the Norse sagas, let us carry the fire of curiosity within us, forever seeking the next horizon, the next Vinland in our own lives. Imagine standing on a landscape shaped by centuries of human ingenuity, where the remnants of ancient structures tell stories of survival, community, and adaptation. This is the world of turf houses and workshops, where the earth itself cradles the echoes of those who once called this place home. As we delve into the depths of this settlement unearthed, prepare to uncover a narrative woven from the very fibers of the land. Turf houses, with their distinctive grass-topped roofs, are more than mere shelters. They are a testament to the resourcefulness of those who thrived in harsh climates. Constructed from the earth itself, these homes were built to withstand the elements, embodying a philosophy of living in harmony with nature. Each layer of turf represents a chapter in the life of a community, a structure that reflects not only the architectural practices of the time, but the very essence of human resilience. Picture a bustling settlement, alive with the sounds of daily life. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and freshly cut grass, mingling with the smoke from fires that flicker in the hearths of these unique dwellings. Families gather in the warmth of their homes, sharing stories and meals, their laughter echoing against the thick walls made from layers of peat and sod. Here, in this communal space, the boundaries between indoors and outdoors blur, creating a seamless connection with the surrounding landscape. Archaeological excavations have unveiled these remarkable structures, revealing not only the dwellings but also the workshops where artisans crafted their goods. As we step into the shoes of these skilled workers, imagine the rhythmic sound of tools striking wood or stone, the focus in their eyes as they mold raw materials into functional art. In these workshops, the trade of craftsmanship flourished, fostering a sense of identity and purpose within the community. The art of building turf houses was passed down through generations, with each family contributing their own flair to the design. The roofs, often adorned with vibrant wildflowers and grasses, served a dual purpose. They blended seamlessly with the surrounding landscape while also providing insulation. The thick walls, constructed with meticulous care, ensured that warmth was preserved during the biting cold of winter. This architectural style was not merely practical. It was a reflection of a culture that revered the land and sought to live in balance with it. As we unearth the remnants of these workshops, we gain insight into the daily lives of the artisans who inhabited this settlement. Tools crafted from bone, wood, and stone lay scattered among the ruins, each one a glimpse into the skill and dedication of its maker. Imagine a craftsman, his hands deftly working a piece of wood, transforming it into a beautiful bowl or a sturdy tool. These creations were not just functional, they were imbued with the spirit of their maker, each piece telling a story of creativity, labor, and love. The workshops also served as places of learning, where knowledge was shared among generations. Young apprentices would gather around seasoned artisans, absorbing wisdom and techniques that had stood the test of time. This passing of knowledge was crucial for the survival of the community, ensuring that skills were not lost, but rather evolved with each new generation. In this way, the settlement thrived, its identity shaped by the craftsmanship and creativity of its inhabitants. As we explore the remnants of these turf houses and workshops, we begin to see the interconnectedness of life in this settlement. The homes and the workplaces were not isolated from one another, they were part of a vibrant ecosystem. Families would gather to celebrate milestones, to mourn losses, and to share in the bounty of their labor. The sense of community was palpable, with each individual contributing to the collective well-being of the group. The discovery of tools and artifacts within the workshops reveals a thriving economy, one that relied heavily on trade with neighboring settlements. Imagine the bustling marketplace, where goods crafted from wood, bone, and clay were exchanged for other necessities. This exchange of resources fostered relationships between communities, creating a network of trade that extended far beyond the boundaries of this settlement. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of these trade routes, revealing not only the items that were exchanged, but also the cultural influences that permeated the region. Each artifact tells a story, a testament to the connections forged through shared labor and mutual respect. The settlement was alive with the spirit of collaboration, a microcosm of the interconnected world beyond its borders. As we continue to peel back the layers of history, we uncover the stories of those who lived and worked here. The remnants of their daily lives, from cooking utensils to decorative items, paint a vivid picture of a society rich in tradition and culture. These artifacts offer a glimpse into their beliefs, their values, and their aspirations. Imagine a family gathering around a fire, the warmth of the flames illuminating their faces as they share stories of their ancestors. Each tale is a thread in the tapestry of their identity, woven together by the common experiences of hardship and joy. The stories passed down through generations are a powerful reminder of the resilience of the human spirit, echoing through time and space. As we stand among the ruins of this settlement, we are reminded that the past is not merely a series of events that have come and gone. It is a living, breathing entity that shapes our present and influences our future. The legacy of these turf houses and workshops is a testament to the enduring strength of community and the timeless pursuit of creativity and craftsmanship. In the quiet moments, when the wind rustles through the grass and the sun sets behind the hills, one can almost hear the whispers of those who once walked these grounds. Their stories, filled with hope and struggle, resonate through the ages, inviting us to reflect on our own connection to the land and each other. As we conclude our journey through this settlement, we carry with us the lessons of resilience, creativity, and community. The turf houses and workshops are not just relics of the past. They are reminders of the enduring spirit of humanity, a call to honor our roots and embrace the connections that bind us all. In this ever-evolving world, let us remember the stories of those who came before us, acknowledging their struggles and triumphs as we forge our own paths. The narrative of this settlement, with its turf houses and workshops, is a chapter in the larger story of humanity, one that continues to unfold with each passing day. Imagine a world where the clang of metal against metal reverberates through the air, a world where the flickering glow of fire dances on the walls of a humble workshop. This is not a scene from a fantasy novel, but rather the very real beginnings of ironworking in North America. The blacksmith's forge, a place of magic and transformation, played a pivotal role in shaping the foundations of society as we know it. Today we delve deep into the story of the first iron produced in North America, exploring the lives of the men and women who wielded hammers and tongs to create tools, weapons, and a legacy that would endure for centuries. In the early 1600s, as European settlers set their sights on the New World, they brought with them not only dreams of wealth and adventure, but also the skills and traditions of their homelands. Among these was the ancient craft of blacksmithing, a trade as old as civilization itself. The blacksmith was more than just a metal worker. He was a community leader, a problem solver, and a craftsman whose creations were vital to everyday life. As the settlers established their colonies, they faced an immediate challenge. While the land was rich in resources, the knowledge and tools they required to thrive were in short supply. Without iron, the very backbone of their agricultural and military endeavors, survival was uncertain. The first iron was not merely a metal, it was a lifeline, a catalyst for growth and innovation. Let us journey to the year 1619, a time when the Jamestown colony in Virginia was struggling to sustain itself. The settlers, faced with harsh winters, limited supplies, and relentless Native American resistance, found themselves at a crossroads. It was in this environment that one man, a blacksmith named William Tucker, would change the course of history. With a vision fueled by necessity and determination, Tucker sought to harness the abundant natural resources around him. Armed with rudimentary tools and the ancient knowledge passed down from generations of blacksmiths, Tucker set up the first ironworks in North America. The location was strategic, nestled near the banks of the James River, where access to water and timber would provide both power and fuel for his forge. Here, Tucker would begin to experiment with the local resources, forging the first pieces of iron from bog ore, a naturally occurring iron-rich sediment found in the wetlands. Picture the scene. The air thick with the smell of smoke and the heat of the fire, as Tucker and his apprentices labor tirelessly, hammering away at the glowing metal. Each strike of the hammer was not just an act of creation, but a declaration of independence from the old world. For the first time, iron was being produced on American soil, and with it came the promise of a new future. As the blacksmith's forge roared to life, the importance of iron quickly became evident. The settlers, once dependent on imported tools and weapons, now had access to their own locally made items. Hammers, nails, plows, and even cannons began to emerge from Tucker's forge, each piece a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. The community rallied around this newfound resource, and the ironworks became a hub of activity, drawing in settlers eager to improve their lives. However, the story of iron in North America was not solely one of triumph. The emergence of ironworks also stirred tensions among the indigenous peoples who had relied on the land for centuries. As the settlers expanded their operations, they encroached upon native territories, leading to conflicts that would shape the future of the continent. The blacksmith's forge, once a symbol of creation, became intertwined with the narrative of colonization and resistance. Despite these challenges, the legacy of Tucker's forge would inspire future generations of blacksmiths. As the colonies expanded, so too did the craft of ironworking. By the late 17th century, other blacksmiths began to establish their forges, spreading the knowledge and skills that Tucker had pioneered. The demand for iron grew, fueled by the needs of an emerging nation. Fast forward to the 18th century, and the landscape of North America had transformed dramatically. The colonies were flourishing, and with them the demand for iron products surged. Blacksmiths became vital members of their communities, providing not only tools but also the very infrastructure for a growing society. The craft evolved, with innovations in techniques and tools that would further enhance the production of iron. One of the most significant advancements came in the form of the blast furnace, a revolutionary technology that allowed for the smelting of iron on a much larger scale. This new method was introduced by German immigrants who brought with them knowledge of advanced ironworking techniques. As blast furnaces began to dot the landscape, iron production skyrocketed, fueling everything from construction to weaponry during the tumultuous years leading up to the American Revolution. Imagine the fervor of the time, the clatter of tools, the roar of the furnace, and the passion of craftsmen and women who were forging not just iron, but a national identity. The blacksmith's forge became a symbol of strength and resilience, a place where skilled hands and creative minds came together to shape the future. As the revolution unfolded, iron played a crucial role in the fight for independence. Cannons, muskets, and other weapons of war were born from the fires of the forge, and blacksmiths became critical players in the resistance against British rule. The very tools of rebellion were crafted by the hands of those who understood the power of metal. As we reflect on this rich history, it's essential to recognize the profound impact that the first ironworks had on the development of North America. The blacksmith's forge was not merely a workshop, it was a catalyst for change, a space where creativity and necessity intertwined to build a new world. The importance of ironworking extended far beyond the physical products created. It fostered a sense of community, a spirit of collaboration, and an understanding of the interconnectedness of people and resources. The blacksmiths of yesteryear laid the groundwork for future generations, inspiring the trades and industries that would emerge in the centuries to come. Today, as we stand on the shoulders of giants, we must remember the legacy of those early blacksmiths like William Tucker. Their determination and craftsmanship forged not just iron, but the very spirit of a nation. The blacksmith's forge, with its glowing embers and ringing hammers, remains a powerful symbol of innovation, resilience, and the human spirit's boundless capacity to create. So, the next time you see a piece of ironwork, whether it be a simple tool or an intricate sculpture, take a moment to appreciate the centuries of history, struggle, and triumph that lie behind it. The story of iron in North America is not just about metal. It is about the people who dared to dream, to forge, and to build a future against all odds. The blacksmith's forge will forever echo in the annals of history, a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the transformative power of creativity. Imagine standing on the edge of the world, where the sea meets the horizon and adventures await just beyond the waves. For the Vikings, this was not just a dream, it was a daily reality. These intrepid seafarers, known for their fierce raids and explorations, wielded a remarkable mastery over shipbuilding and repair that allowed them to navigate the vast, unpredictable waters of the North Atlantic and beyond. Today, we embark on a journey to explore the intricacies of Viking ship repair and the undeniable significance of their vessels in the age of exploration. The Viking longships, with their sleek designs and shallow drafts, were marvels of engineering. Crafted from oak, these ships were not merely tools of war, they were the lifeblood of Norse culture. They enabled trade, transportation, and the legendary voyages that took men like Leif Erikson to the shores of North America long before Columbus set sail. Yet behind the glory of these voyages lay a critical aspect of Viking life: the art of ship repair. A ship, much like a warrior, must be maintained and cared for. The Vikings understood this well. After each voyage, their vessels would often return battered by storms, choked with seaweed, or even damaged by enemy attacks. The journey back home was not merely a return, it was a call to action. As the ships pulled into harbour, a community effort would ensue, one that brought together craftsmen, families, and even children. The shipyards hummed with life, each person playing a vital role in restoring the vessel's strength and beauty. Picture a bustling fjord where the air is thick with the scent of salt and wood. Men and women work side by side, their hands deftly repairing the hulls of longships. Some are hammering away at rivets, others are applying pitch to seal leaks, while the children scurry about, collecting tools and materials. It is a scene of resilience, where every repaired plank becomes a testament to Viking ingenuity. The community's efforts not only restored the ships, but also reinforced their bonds, uniting them in a shared purpose. The repair process was as much about knowledge as it was about labor. Vikings were astute observers of nature, understanding how their environment influenced their vessels. They knew the best types of wood to use, the ideal conditions for repairs, and the techniques that would ensure their ships remained seaworthy. This wisdom was passed down through generations, a rich tapestry of traditions that shaped their maritime culture. As the longships were meticulously restored, tales of past adventures would circulate among the workers. They recounted stories of harrowing storms, encounters with mythical creatures, and encounters with other cultures across the seas. These narratives wove a fabric of identity for the Vikings, linking them to their ancestors while inspiring the next generation to set sail into the unknown. But repair was not the only aspect of Viking maritime life. The ships themselves were symbols of exploration and conquest, designed for both speed and agility. Their slender forms cut through the water with grace, allowing them to navigate rivers and seas alike. These ships were equipped with a single square sail and a bank of oars, enabling them to travel both with and against the wind. It was this adaptability that allowed the Vikings to reach distant shores, from the icy fjords of Norway to the warm beaches of the Mediterranean. As we delve deeper into the Viking spirit of exploration, we must highlight the significance of the draka, the iconic dragon-headed longship. These vessels were not only fearsome in appearance, but also served as emissaries of the Viking way of life. The elaborate carvings at their prows told stories of gods and heroes, while the dragon figures were believed to ward off evil spirits, protecting the crew during their voyages. Each draka was a floating masterpiece, a blend of artistry and functionality. From the very beginning of their seafaring endeavors, the Vikings sought out new lands, driven by a blend of curiosity and necessity. As resources dwindled in their homeland, the call of the open sea became irresistible. Land was more than just a territory. It was a promise of sustenance, a chance to thrive. The Vikings ventured to the coasts of Britain, the lush fields of Ireland, and even the icy shores of Greenland. Each expedition was an act of bravery, a testament to their desire to explore the world beyond their familiar horizons. Yet, exploration was fraught with peril. The sea, with all its beauty, also harbored dangers that could turn a journey into a struggle for survival. Storms could arise without warning, and navigational errors could lead to disaster. Here, the importance of ship repair became paramount. A well-maintained ship could withstand the battering of the elements, while a neglected vessel might spell doom for its crew. The Vikings were not just warriors. They were skilled navigators, adept at reading the stars, the sun, and the patterns of the waves. They employed tools like the sun compass, which helped them find their way even on cloudy days. Their knowledge of the sea was vast, yet they understood that no amount of skill could substitute for a robust and seaworthy ship. This is where the cycle of repair and exploration intertwined seamlessly, as each successful voyage reinforced the importance of maintaining their vessels. As we reflect on the Viking legacy, it becomes clear that their ships were more than mere vessels. They were extensions of their identity. The craftsmanship involved in building and repairing these ships reflected the values of the Viking society: strength, resilience, and a deep connection to the sea. Each ship that sailed the waters carried with it the hopes and dreams of its crew, a floating testament to a culture that thrived on adventure and exploration. In the quiet moments at sea, when the winds were calm and the stars shone brightly overhead, the Viking sailors would gather on deck to share their dreams of distant lands. They spoke of places filled with riches, cultures waiting to be discovered, and new stories to be written. These dreams fueled their resolve, pushing them forward into the unknown, where the promise of discovery awaited. As we come to the end of our exploration of Viking boat repair and the significance of their ships, we are left with a profound appreciation for the craftsmanship and courage that defined this extraordinary culture. The Vikings were more than just raiders. They were explorers, builders, and storytellers, whose legacy continues to resonate through the ages. The next time you gaze out at the sea, think of those daring souls who once sailed its vast expanse, driven by a relentless spirit of adventure and an unwavering belief in the power of the ship they called home. What if the ground beneath our feet could tell stories of human ingenuity and craftsmanship, secrets buried deep within the earth that span centuries? Among the most intriguing relics of our past are the artifacts that have been unearthed from the soil: rings, needles, and nails. Each of these objects, seemingly mundane in their simplicity, holds a profound connection to the lives of those who came before us, whispering tales of love, survival, and industriousness. Imagine a young woman, her heart racing as she receives a small, intricately designed ring from a suitor. The moment is filled with hope and promise, symbolizing a bond that transcends time. Rings throughout history have served as tokens of love, commitment, and status. They are often adorned with precious stones, each gem carrying its own story, its own significance. Yet, beyond their aesthetic beauty, rings serve as a portal to the past. Consider the discovery of a golden ring in a forgotten burial site, carefully placed upon the finger of a long-lost aristocrat. Archaeologists unearthed this treasure, revealing not only the craftsmanship of the artisans of that era, but also the social structures in place. This ring was more than just a piece of jewelry. It was a testament to the power and wealth of an individual, a symbol of their standing in society. The shimmering gold, the intricate designs, every detail speaks to a time when skill and artistry were paramount. But rings are not merely symbols of wealth or status. They also represent personal narratives, intimate connections between individuals. A simple silver band, worn and weathered, found among the ashes of a humble home, tells a story of enduring love. It belonged to a couple who braved the hardships of their time, their union tested by the trials of life. This ring, though unadorned, carries the weight of their commitment, a reminder that love can flourish even in the harshest of circumstances. As we delve deeper into the earth, we encounter another artifact that has shaped the course of human history: the needle. A seemingly innocuous object, the needle is a remarkable testament to human innovation. Imagine a time when fabric was not mass-produced, when every thread was spun by hand, and every stitch held significance. Needles, often made from bone, wood, or metal, were essential tools in the hands of those who created clothing and textiles, transforming raw materials into comfort and protection. In ancient civilizations, needles were not just practical tools, they were also artistic instruments. The artistry of stitching reflects the cultural identity of a community. A delicately crafted needle found in an archaeological site may reveal insights into the social customs, trade practices, and even the aesthetic preferences of a bygone era. Each needle tells a story of labor and creativity, of the countless hours spent sewing garments that adorned the bodies of individuals across generations. Consider the implications of a needle found in the remnants of a Viking settlement. It reveals not only the practicalities of daily life, but also hints at the sophistication of their craftsmanship. As we trace the lineage of the needle, we uncover a rich tapestry of history, where each stitch connects us to those who came before us. The humble needle, an unassuming artifact, transforms into a bridge linking past and present, reminding us of the timeless nature of human creativity. Yet, as we sift through the layers of soil, we also find nails, often overlooked, yet profoundly significant. Nails are the backbone of construction, the silent sentinels that hold our world together. Picture a medieval carpenter, laboring in the fading light of dusk, hammering nails into timber to create a sturdy home, a sanctuary for his family. Every nail driven into wood was a testament to skill, craftsmanship, and a vision for the future. Nails have been used for millennia, evolving in form and function. From the rudimentary iron nails of ancient Rome to the intricately designed fasteners of the Gothic age, each variation reflects the technological advancements of its time. When archaeologists uncover a cache of nails from a long-abandoned structure, they are not merely unearthing metal. They are revealing the architectural aspirations of a society. These artifacts offer a glimpse into the building techniques and materials that shaped the landscapes of our ancestors. The story of nails is a story of resilience. Each nail represents the labor of those who toiled to construct homes, churches, and monuments. Imagine the grand cathedrals of Europe, their towering spires reaching toward the heavens, all held together by thousands of nails. These small yet vital components symbolize the dedication of countless artisans whose hands shaped the very fabric of their communities. As we explore the significance of rings, needles, and nails, we begin to understand their shared narrative. Each artifact is a fragment of history, a piece of a larger puzzle that reveals the complexities of human existence. They speak to our desires, our needs, and our aspirations. Through the lens of these objects, we gain insight into the lives of those who walked the earth before us, their joys and struggles echoing through time. Consider the intersection of these artifacts: the ring that adorned a finger that once threaded a needle, the nails that held together a home where love was forged and nurtured. The connections between these objects are profound, weaving together the stories of individuals, families, and communities. They remind us that history is not merely a collection of dates and events. It is the collective narrative of humanity, rich with complexity and emotion. In the quiet of the earth, beneath layers of soil and time, these artifacts await discovery, longing to share their stories. Each ring, needle, and nail is a testament to the resilience and creativity of our forebears, a reminder that the human spirit endures, crafting beauty and connection even in the most challenging of circumstances. As we reflect on the significance of these artifacts, we invite you to consider your own connections to the past. What stories lie beneath your feet? What remnants of human ingenuity and love have been etched into the fabric of your own life? The earth, with all its hidden treasures, invites us to explore, to discover, and to connect with those who came before us, a journey that transcends time and space, uniting us in our shared humanity. Join us as we continue to explore the rich tapestry of our world, uncovering the artifacts that connect us to our history and illuminate the path forward. In the layers of time, there are countless stories waiting to be told, and we are just beginning to scratch the surface. Each ring, needle, and nail is a reminder that the past is not a distant memory, but a living part of who we are today. Through these artifacts, we are bound together, woven into the intricate fabric of human experience. Imagine a time when the soft clatter of wooden spindles filled the air, echoing the daily rhythms of life. This was not merely a sound. It was the heartbeat of countless homes, a melody woven into the fabric of domestic existence. As we embark on this exploration of the role women played in the world of spinning, we find ourselves unearthing stories rich with resilience, creativity, and a unique bond to the very fibers that clothed them. Spinning, an ancient craft, has been a cornerstone of human civilization for thousands of years. Yet, it is often overlooked, overshadowed by the grand narratives of industrialization and technological advancement. But within the quiet corners of homes, women transformed raw materials into essentials for life, crafting not just textiles, but identities, traditions, and legacies. Each twist of the spindle was a story, each thread a connection to the past, and a thread in the fabric of community. Picture a small, rustic home nestled in a village, its windows adorned with hand-woven curtains. Inside, a woman sits by the hearth, her hands deftly working a spindle. As she draws out the fibers, her thoughts weave together memories of her ancestors who practiced this craft long before her. Each spin is not an isolated act. It is a continuation of a lineage, a passage of knowledge from mother to daughter, echoing through the generations. The spindle itself, a simple tool, holds immense significance. It symbolizes the intimate relationship women developed with their work. Unlike the mechanized looms that would later dominate textile production, the spindle allowed for a personal touch, a connection between the maker and her creation. It was portable, adaptable, and could be used in the quiet moments of daily life, while tending to children, cooking meals, or gathering water. In this way, spinning became an integral part of domestic life, interwoven with the very essence of womanhood. As we delve deeper into the history of spinning, we encounter communities where the craft was not only a means of survival, but also a form of artistic expression. Each region, with its distinct fibers and techniques, contributed to a rich tapestry of styles. From the vibrant colors of wool, dyed with local plants, to the intricate patterns that told stories of culture and heritage, spinning was a canvas for creativity. Women became artists in their own right, their work reflecting the landscapes they inhabited and the lives they led. The social implications of spinning were profound. In many societies, women gathered in groups, sharing not just techniques, but experiences, laughter, and sometimes tears. These gatherings, often called spinning circles or bees, were essential for building community ties. They provided safe spaces for women to exchange ideas, support one another, and create bonds that extended beyond the loom. In a world often dominated by patriarchal structures, these moments of solidarity were invaluable, allowing women to find their voices and express their agency through their craft. However, the world of spinning was not without its challenges. As industrialization began to take root in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, the landscape of textile production underwent a dramatic transformation. Factories sprang up, and the demand for mass-produced goods threatened the traditional practices that had sustained women for generations. No longer could they spin in the comfort of their homes. Instead, they were drawn into the factories, where conditions were harsh and wages meager. Yet even in this shift, the spirit of spinning endured. Women adapted, bringing their skills into the new industrial age. They became essential players in the workforce, often leading strikes and advocating for better conditions. The very act of spinning, once a solitary endeavor, became a collective struggle for rights and recognition. As they stood together, women not only fought for fair wages, but also reclaimed their narratives, ensuring that their contributions were acknowledged in the historical tapestry of their communities. Amid these changes, the legacy of hand spinning remained alive. While some women embraced the factory life, others sought to preserve the art of spinning, recognizing its value beyond mere utility. They understood that spinning was not only about producing fabrics, but also about maintaining cultural heritage. This revivalist spirit saw the establishment of craft guilds, workshops, and educational programs dedicated to teaching the next generation. The spindle, once a symbol of domesticity, transformed into an emblem of empowerment and cultural preservation. As we trace the journey of these women through time, we encounter a variety of practices that illustrate the diversity of spinning traditions. From the intricate techniques of Navajo weavers in the American Southwest to the vibrant textiles of West African women, each culture offers unique insights into the artistry of spinning. The stories of these women are as varied as the fibers they spun, each thread a testament to their ingenuity and perseverance. In rural settings, spinning was often a communal activity, a way to strengthen ties and foster collaboration. Women would gather in fields or by the fireside, sharing stories and laughter as they worked. This communal aspect of spinning played a vital role in preserving traditions, ensuring that the knowledge passed down through generations remained alive and relevant. The act of spinning itself became a celebration of femininity, a ritual that honored the labor and creativity of women. As we shift our focus to contemporary times, the resurgence of interest in handcrafts has breathed new life into the world of spinning. Modern artisans, inspired by the legacies of their ancestors, have embraced this ancient craft, rekindling the connection between maker and material. Workshops and festivals celebrating spinning and weaving have emerged, drawing enthusiasts from all walks of life. In these spaces, women continue to gather, creating not only textiles but also a sense of community where stories are shared and friendships are forged. Today, the spindle remains a powerful symbol, representing both the challenges and triumphs of women throughout history. As we stand at the crossroads of tradition and innovation, it is essential to recognize the impact of these women as they spun their way through the ages. Their stories remind us of the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of community. In tracing the lineage of women and their relationship with spindles, we uncover a narrative that transcends time and space. It is a story of survival, creativity, and an unyielding connection to one another. As we reflect on the significance of spinning, we honor the countless women who have shaped this craft, recognizing that their legacies continue to inspire and empower generations to come. So, the next time you encounter a beautifully spun thread, take a moment to appreciate the journey it represents. Behind every fiber lies a story, a connection to the past, and a celebration of the women who transformed raw materials into something extraordinary. Their artistry, resilience, and unwavering spirit remind us that the act of creating is not just about the end product, but about the connections we forge, the stories we tell, and the lives we touch along the way. The air is thick with mystery, the kind that hangs over ancient tales like a fog over a forgotten landscape. Picture this, a time long forgotten, around the year 1000 AD, when daring Norse explorers first set sail across the treacherous waters of the North Atlantic. Among them was Leif Erikson, a name well known in the annals of exploration. Yet this voyage was not merely a quest for new lands, it was a search for something extraordinary, a place known as Vinland, where grapes were said to flourish. But what if the tales of Vinland were not merely the fanciful imaginings of old Norse sagas? What if this land of plenty, overflowing with grapes and fertile soil, was based on a sliver of truth? The story of Vinland has captivated historians, archaeologists, and adventurers alike. It raises questions that bridge the realms of myth and reality, weaving a narrative that transcends time. To understand the significance of Vinland, we must first delve into the rich tapestry of Norse exploration. The Vikings were not just raiders, they were skilled navigators and traders. They journeyed far beyond their Scandinavian homelands, reaching the shores of North America nearly 5 centuries before Columbus. Yet, the details of these voyages remain shrouded in a veil of intrigue. The sagas, particularly the Vinland sagas, recount the adventures of Leif Erikson and others as they stumbled upon this bountiful land. But are these accounts rooted in fact or woven from the threads of myth? As we explore the evidence, we encounter the first archaeological clues that hint at Vinland's reality. In the late 1960s, a remarkable discovery was made at Meadows, a site on the northern tip of Newfoundland, Canada. This was no ordinary find. It was the first confirmed Viking settlement in North America. Here, the remnants of Norse structures, tools, and artifacts lay buried beneath layers of earth, waiting to reveal their secrets. But did this settlement represent the fabled Vinland? The debate ignited like a spark in dry grass. Historians began to scrutinize the sagas, searching for connections between the words of the past and the evidence unearthed in Newfoundland. The sagas depicted Vinland as a land rich in resources, where wild grapes grew in abundance. Some scholars argue that the term Vinland itself may have been derived from the Old Norse word for wine, suggesting that the Norse did indeed find grapes. Others, however, posit that the word may have referred to a variety of berries or even a metaphorical reference to a land of plenty. The question lingers. Could the Vikings have genuinely discovered a place where grapes grew? To answer this, we turn our gaze southward to the temperate climates where grapevines thrive. As we trace the possible routes taken by the Norse, it becomes clear that they did not merely sail aimlessly into the unknown. The sagas mention encounters with indigenous peoples who may have shared their knowledge of the land and its resources. This interplay of cultures adds another layer to the Vinland story, as it suggests that the Norse were not alone in their exploration. Yet the mystery deepens as we examine the shifting climate of the era. During the medieval warm period, parts of North America experienced milder conditions, potentially allowing for the growth of grapevines in regions that would later become inhospitable. Could this temporary climate shift explain the Norse tales of Vinland? Perhaps the grapes they found flourished in a land that, due to changing weather patterns, was briefly transformed into a verdant paradise. As we piece together the puzzle, we must also confront the skepticism that surrounds the story of Vinland. Critics highlight the lack of concrete evidence, pointing out that the tales of wild grapes could easily have been exaggerated or misinterpreted over centuries. After all, the sagas were passed down through oral tradition, vulnerable to the embellishments of storytelling. The allure of adventure and discovery might have led to a more romanticized version of events than what actually transpired. But let us not forget the power of myth. Tales of extraordinary lands have a way of capturing the imaginations of those who hear them, inspiring generations to seek the unattainable. The story of Vinland transcends mere geography. It speaks to the human spirit's relentless quest for adventure and the desire to connect with distant worlds. Whether myth or reality, the legacy of Vinland reverberates through time, urging us to explore the unknown. As we journey deeper into this narrative, we encounter other legends that echo the story of Vinland. The myths of other cultures, from the Americas to Europe, reflect the timeless allure of distant lands filled with abundance. In this tapestry of exploration, Vinland stands as a testament to the interconnectedness of human experience, a reminder that our stories are often woven with threads from far and wide. Yet, what of the grapes? Were they true or simply figments of imagination? Archaeological evidence reveals that the Norse did indeed cultivate crops, including barley and possibly even grapes, in areas they settled. The remnants of their agricultural practices hint at a deeper understanding of the land and its potential. This raises the tantalizing possibility that, in their quest for sustenance, the Norse may have stumbled upon wild grapevines, igniting the tales of Vinland as a land of plenty. As we contemplate the legacy of Vinland, we must also consider its impact on our understanding of history. The Norse voyages challenge the narrative of discovery that has long dominated our perception of exploration. They remind us that the world is a tapestry of interconnected stories, where cultures collide, share, and shape one another. The tale of Vinland becomes a lens through which we can examine our own assumptions about exploration and the stories we tell. Ultimately, as we navigate the waters of myth and reality, we find ourselves at the crossroads of history. Vinland, whether a genuine land of grapes or a metaphorical representation of abundance, invites us to reflect on the nature of discovery itself. It urges us to celebrate the stories that bind us, the adventures that inspire us, and the mysteries that continue to elude us. In the end, the narrative of Vinland is more than a historical account. It is a reminder of the enduring human spirit, the quest for knowledge, and the timeless allure of the unknown. As we close the chapter on this enigmatic tale, we are left with a sense of wonder and a renewed appreciation for the explorers who dared to dream of distant shores, forever shaping the course of history. The grapes of Vinland may remain elusive, but their legacy lives on, inviting us to continue our exploration of the world and the stories it holds. Imagine navigating the icy waters of the North Atlantic, where the horizon blurs between the sea and the sky, and the cries of seabirds echo above the relentless waves. It is here, amidst the rugged coasts and harsh landscapes, that Norse explorers ventured into the unknown, driven by tales of land beyond the reach of their familiar world. But what awaited them was not merely a new territory. It was a complex tapestry of human encounters, forged in the fires of curiosity, conflict, and survival. This chapter delves into the stories of the Skraelings, a term used by the Norse to describe the indigenous peoples they encountered in North America, particularly during their expeditions to Vinland, a land believed to be part of modern-day Newfoundland. These encounters, chronicled in the sagas, are more than mere footnotes in Norse history. They are vital insights into the interplay of two vastly different cultures. The sagas, rich in narrative and steeped in the oral tradition, offer a glimpse into these early meetings. The word Skraeling itself is thought to derive from the Old Norse word for screaming, perhaps an expression of the Norse's initial fear or misunderstanding of the indigenous peoples. But who were the Skraelings? What stories did they tell? And how did these encounters shape the Norse understanding of the world? As the Norse ships approached the shores of Vinland, they found a land teeming with resources and life. The lush greenery and abundant wildlife must have been a stark contrast to the rugged terrain of Scandinavia. Yet, as they stepped onto this new soil, they were not alone. The Skraelings, with their canoes and unique way of life, were already inhabiting these territories. These indigenous peoples, likely the ancestors of the Beothuk and other groups, had a rich culture and an intricate relationship with the land. The sagas recount the initial exchanges between the Norse and the Skraelings, marked by a mix of curiosity and caution. In the Saga of the Greenlanders, we hear of the first encounters, described with a blend of awe and trepidation. The Norsemen, with their iron weapons and ships, were met by the Skraelings, who wielded bows and arrows and travelled in canoes crafted from the very trees that surrounded them. The stark differences in technology and lifestyle led to a complex dynamic, one where both sides were unsure of each other's intentions. Picture this moment. A Norse warrior, his breath visible in the crisp air, stands face to face with a Skraeling. The two men exchange glances, each sizing up the other, each representing a world so different from the other. What thoughts race through their minds? Fear? Curiosity? Perhaps a desire for connection? The sagas hint at such complexities, revealing a reality where mutual understanding was as elusive as the fog that clung to the shoreline. As the encounters progressed, the sagas depict a series of skirmishes and negotiations. The Norse, driven by the promise of trade and the allure of new resources, often sought to establish a foothold in this foreign land. They were particularly interested in the furs and skins that the Skraelings possessed, valued commodities that could fetch high prices back in Europe. Yet the Skraelings, proud of their autonomy and protective of their territory, were not easily swayed. The tension between the two groups escalated, leading to confrontations that were sometimes violent. In one notable encounter, the Norse describe how a group of Skraelings attacked their settlement, driven by a need to defend their land. The saga recounts a fierce battle where arrows flew and shields clashed, a chaotic dance of survival that underscored the fragility of peace. In the aftermath, both sides were left with wounds, not just of the body, but of the spirit, a reminder that the clash of cultures could bring both opportunity and destruction. Yet, amidst the conflict, there were moments of connection. The Norse were not just warriors, they were also traders and explorers. There are accounts of exchanges where goods were bartered and knowledge was shared, albeit limited. The Skraelings introduced the Norse to local resources, teaching them about the land and its bounty. This exchange was not just about trade. It was a sharing of life, a mingling of two worlds that had previously existed in isolation. As the Norse continued their excursions into Vinland, the stories of the Skraelings remained etched in their memories and their sagas. The complexity of these encounters illustrated a profound truth. The interactions between the Norse and the indigenous peoples were not linear. They were woven with threads of cooperation, misunderstanding, conflict, and resilience. The sagas serve as a testament to this reality, often blending history with myth, leaving us to ponder what really transpired. Did the Norse ever truly understand the Skraelings? Or were they trapped in a narrative shaped by their own beliefs and biases? As we reflect on these encounters, it becomes clear that the legacy of the Skraelings extends beyond the pages of the sagas. They are a reminder of the rich tapestry of human experience, of the struggles for land, identity, and survival that resonate through time. And so, as we turn the pages of history, we find ourselves at a crossroads of understanding. The tales of the Skraelings and the Norse are not merely stories of encounters. They are reflections of humanity's enduring quest for connection. They invite us to explore the complexities of cultural exchange and the lessons that echo through generations. In the end, the encounters between the Norse and the Skraelings were not just about the clash of swords or the exchange of goods. They were a dance of humanity, a story of two peoples navigating the uncharted waters of coexistence. Through these narratives, we come to understand not only the past, but also the enduring spirit of those who have walked this land long before us. The Skraelings, with their rich histories and cultures, remind us that every encounter is an opportunity for learning, growth, and perhaps a glimpse of what unity could look like in a world often divided. As we move forward in this exploration of the past, let us carry with us the lessons learned from the sagas, embracing the stories of those who came before, and recognizing the threads that connect us all in this vast tapestry of life. What happens when two worlds, so different in their essence, collide? The answer often lies in a tapestry of conflict, misunderstanding, and at times, unexpected growth. As we journey through the annals of history, we discover the profound impact of these cultural encounters, particularly during a time marked by exploration, conquest, and the relentless quest for resources. This chapter delves into the tumultuous period when cultures clashed, leading to both conflict and retreat, reshaping societies in ways that would echo through generations. Picture the vast oceans that separated civilizations, each thriving in their own unique ecosystems, languages, and traditions. Across the Atlantic, the indigenous peoples of the Americas lived in harmony with the land, their spiritual beliefs intricately woven into the fabric of their everyday lives. Meanwhile, in Europe, the age of exploration was in full swing. Adventurers and merchants were driven by a relentless thirst for new territories, wealth, and above all, the desire to spread their own cultural ideologies. As European ships set sail into the unknown, they carried with them not just goods and technology, but also a worldview that often dismissed the value of cultures they encountered. The arrival of Christopher Columbus in 1492 marked a pivotal moment in history, not merely as the discovery of the New World, but as the beginning of an era where cultures would collide with devastating consequences. Imagine the scene. The sun rises over the Caribbean, casting golden hues across the waters. Columbus and his crew step onto the shores of what they would later call Hispaniola, greeted by the indigenous Taino people. The initial encounters were marked by curiosity and a tentative exchange of goods. But beneath this facade of goodwill lay the seeds of conflict, as the Europeans, driven by a sense of superiority, began to impose their customs and beliefs on the local populations. As we explore these encounters, we must confront the darker aspects of this collision. The introduction of European diseases decimated indigenous populations who had no immunity to the ailments brought by the newcomers. Smallpox, measles, and influenza swept through communities, leaving devastation in their wake. This tragic irony highlights the profound disconnect between cultures as one flourished while the other faced a catastrophic retreat. Yet, it is essential to recognize that these cultural clashes were not solely about conquest and destruction. They also sparked moments of resistance and resilience. Take, for example, the story of the Inca Empire, which at its height was one of the largest empires in the world. When Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro arrived in the early 16th century, he encountered not just a civilization rich in culture and innovation, but a society that would fight back against the invasion. The fall of the Inca Empire is a story of both tragedy and defiance. As Pizarro captured the Inca ruler Atahualpa, he believed he had secured victory. Yet, the spirit of resistance remained alive among the indigenous peoples. Despite overwhelming odds, they engaged in guerrilla warfare, using their knowledge of the terrain to their advantage. This resistance, though ultimately unsuccessful in preserving the Inca Empire, laid the groundwork for future movements against colonization. As we transition to the other side of the globe, the cultural collision between the British and the peoples of India offers another striking narrative. British colonial rule began in the 17th century, driven by trade and the lust for resources. The East India Company's initial forays were marked by commercial interests, but they soon escalated into political domination. Here, we see a stark example of how cultural imposition can lead to conflict and resistance. The British sought to reshape Indian society, imposing their legal systems, education, and even moral codes. The introduction of the English language served as a double-edged sword. It opened doors to new opportunities for some, while simultaneously eroding traditional ways of life for many others. The clash of cultures was palpable, as the British viewed themselves as bringers of civilization, while many Indians saw them as oppressors. But amid the turmoil, an awakening began. Leaders like Mahatma Gandhi emerged, advocating for non-violent resistance against colonial rule. The struggle for independence became a movement that united diverse cultures within India as people from different backgrounds rallied together against their common oppressor. Here, we witness a remarkable transformation. What began as an imposition of culture turned into a powerful resurgence of indigenous identity and unity. The narrative of conflict and retreat extends beyond these historical examples, touching upon the legacies that continue to shape our world today. The scars of colonialism linger, manifesting in socio-economic disparities, cultural dislocation, and ongoing tensions between communities. Yet, within this complexity, lies the resilience of those who strive to reclaim their narratives, to honor their ancestors, and to forge a path forward. As we reflect on these moments of collision, it is crucial to recognize that culture is not a static entity. It evolves and adapts in response to external influences. The blending of traditions often leads to the emergence of new identities that transcend the binaries of conqueror and conquered. This synthesis of cultures can be seen in the vibrant art, music, and culinary practices that arise from the mingling of different peoples. Consider the rich tapestry of the Caribbean, where African, indigenous, and European cultures intermingled to create something entirely new. The rhythms of reggae, the flavors of jerk chicken, and the vibrant celebrations of carnival are all testaments to the resilience of cultural identity in the face of historical adversity. As we conclude this chapter on conflict and retreat, we are reminded that the stories of cultural collisions are not merely tales of loss and suffering. They are also narratives of strength, adaptation, and the enduring human spirit. The legacies of these encounters continue to influence our global landscape, shaping our interactions and understanding of one another. In a world that often feels divided, the lessons from history urge us to seek common ground, to celebrate the richness that emerges from diversity, and to remember that every culture has its own story worth telling. As we move forward, let us carry these stories with us, honoring the past while forging a path toward a more inclusive future. The rugged coastline of Newfoundland is a paradox, where the beauty of nature collides with the relentless forces of climate. The waves crash against the jagged cliffs, each splash a reminder of the harsh reality that defines this land. Here, the weather can change in the blink of an eye, from serene to tempestuous, and the inhabitants have learned to navigate the unpredictability that surrounds them. But what does it mean to live in a place where the climate is both a life-giver and a life-taker? Newfoundland is a land rich in history, culture, and breathtaking landscapes, yet beneath its picturesque facade lies a struggle that has been ongoing for centuries. The island's climate, shaped by the confluence of the North Atlantic Ocean and the Arctic air masses, is as fierce as it is beautiful. The people here have weathered countless storms, both literal and metaphorical. But now, as the effects of climate change loom larger, they face challenges that threaten not just their way of life, but also the very essence of the land itself. At the heart of Newfoundland's climate challenges lies a stark reality. Temperatures are rising. Over the past century, the province has experienced a significant increase in average temperatures, with projections suggesting that this trend will only intensify. What does this mean for a place where winters are long and harsh? For the iconic icebergs that drift majestically along the coastline, the rising temperatures spell disaster. These ancient giants, which have journeyed from the glaciers of Greenland, are melting at an alarming rate. As the ice shrinks, so too do the livelihoods of those who depend on the tourism these natural wonders attract. Fishermen and women who have long braved the cold Atlantic waters are finding their traditional fishing grounds increasingly unpredictable. The once reliable patterns of fish migration are shifting, leaving many to wonder where the catch of the day has gone. Cod, once the staple of Newfoundland's economy, now seems elusive. The once thriving fishing communities are grappling with uncertainty as they adapt to a new reality where the sea is not as bountiful as it once was. As we delve deeper into the stories of those who call Newfoundland home, we uncover a tapestry of resilience woven through generations. Meet Mary, a local fisherwoman whose family has been on these waters for over a century. She recalls tales passed down from her grandfather, stories of the sea teeming with life. Yet her eyes betray a sense of loss as she speaks of the changes she has witnessed over her lifetime. The fish she once caught in abundance now feel like a dream slipping away. Mary is not alone. Across the island, farmers are also feeling the weight of climate change on their shoulders. The once predictable rhythm of the seasons has become erratic, with unpredictable frosts and unseasonable heat waves wreaking havoc on crops. The farmers of Newfoundland have always been resourceful, but the changing climate is pushing them to their limits. They are learning to adapt, experimenting with new crops and methods, but the uncertainty leaves them anxious about the future. Yet, amidst these challenges, there are stories of hope and innovation. Communities are coming together, sharing knowledge and resources to confront the climate crisis head-on. In one town, a group of farmers has banded together to create a cooperative, pooling their expertise to develop sustainable practices that not only safeguard their livelihoods, but also protect the land for future generations. They are planting native species, restoring wetlands, and embracing permaculture principles, all while fostering a sense of camaraderie that is vital in these trying times. Education has emerged as a powerful tool in the fight against climate change. Local schools are incorporating environmental studies into their curriculums, teaching the next generation about the importance of sustainability and stewardship. Children are learning to appreciate the delicate balance of their ecosystem, understanding that the land and sea are not just resources but living entities deserving of respect. As they engage in hands-on projects like planting trees and cleaning up local beaches, they are becoming champions of change, sparking a grassroots movement that is gaining momentum across Newfoundland. However, the challenges are not solely local. The island's geographical isolation means that the impacts of climate change are amplified, supply chains are disrupted, and the rising cost of goods places a heavier burden on residents already grappling with economic uncertainty. The delicate balance of Newfoundland's economy, heavily reliant on fishing and tourism, teeters on the edge as the realities of climate change ripple through the fabric of society. As we journey through this harsh land, we encounter the voices of indigenous peoples whose connection to Newfoundland's landscapes runs deep. For thousands of years, they have lived in harmony with the land, adapting their practices to the rhythms of nature. Today, they are at the forefront of climate advocacy, sharing their traditional knowledge and wisdom with broader communities. Their teachings emphasize the importance of listening to the land, understanding its stories, and recognizing when it is in distress. The indigenous communities are not only resilient, they are also leading the charge towards sustainable practices that honor their ancestral ties to the land. Their approaches to fishing and agriculture provide valuable lessons in conservation and respect for the environment. As they collaborate with local governments and organizations, they are forging pathways to a more sustainable future, one that honors the past while looking forward with hope. But the path ahead is fraught with challenges. As storms become more severe, the physical infrastructure of Newfoundland is put to the test. Roads, homes, and bridges are increasingly vulnerable to flooding and erosion. The government faces the daunting task of investing in climate resilience, but funding is often scarce and the demands are high. Communities are banding together to advocate for change, pushing for policies that prioritize environmental stewardship and disaster preparedness. In the face of adversity, the spirit of the people of Newfoundland shines bright. They are artists and storytellers, capturing the beauty of their land through music and art. Their resilience is reflected in the songs sung around campfires and the stories shared in cozy kitchens. Through their creativity, they remind us that even in the harshest of conditions, there is beauty to be found and hope to be nurtured. As we draw our journey through this land of contrasts to a close, we are left with a profound sense of admiration for the people of Newfoundland. They are not merely survivors of a harsh climate, they are stewards of a fragile ecosystem, guardians of their cultural heritage, and champions of change. Their stories resonate far beyond the shores of this island, echoing a universal truth that in the face of climate challenges, it is our collective resilience, innovation and compassion that will guide us toward a more sustainable future. The harsh land of Newfoundland may present overwhelming challenges, but it is also a testament to the unwavering spirit of its people. As they look to the horizon, they embody the hope that through unity, education, and respect for the environment, a brighter future can emerge. A future where the beauty of this land thrives alongside its people. Imagine standing on the rugged shores of a distant land, the salty breeze whipping through your hair as you gaze out at the vast, uncharted waters that stretch before you. The sun is setting, casting an orange glow on the horizon, and you can feel the pulse of adventure in your veins. This was the reality for the Vikings, seafaring warriors and explorers who, over a millennium ago, ventured into the unknown, navigating treacherous seas in search of new horizons. Among their most audacious exploits was the remarkable journey to a new world, a land that would later be known as North America. The Viking Age, spanning from the late 8th to early 11th centuries, was characterized by exploration and conquest. These Norsemen, originating from what is now Scandinavia, were not just raiders, they were skilled craftsmen, traders, and above all, navigators. Their mastery of the seas allowed them to traverse vast distances, and their longships, engineered with both speed and agility, were the envy of the ancient world. But what drove them to set sail for lands beyond the horizon? As the icy winds of the North Sea blew, the Viking sagas tell of a man named Leif Erikson, a figure shrouded in legend. Born into a lineage of explorers, Leif was the son of Eric the Red, the founder of Greenland. It is said that in the year 1000, inspired by tales from sailors who had ventured westward, Leif embarked on a journey that would change the course of history. His destination? A land rich in resources, fertile soil, and lush landscapes. He would soon find a place he named Vinland, believed to be the coastal areas of modern-day Newfoundland, Canada. The journey across the Atlantic was not merely a leap of faith, it was a calculated risk. The Vikings relied on a combination of navigational skills, natural signs, and innovative technology to guide their way. They used the sun's position, the stars, and even the flight patterns of birds to determine their course. The longships, with their shallow drafts and double-ended design, were perfect for both open ocean sailing and navigating shallow rivers. They could travel swiftly, allowing the Vikings to reach their destination in a matter of weeks rather than months. When Leif and his crew finally made landfall, they were greeted by a world teeming with life. The vast forests were filled with game, the rivers ran with fish, and the shores were lined with wild grapes. Hence the name Vinland. The Viking presence in this new land was not merely one of exploration, it was a brief glimpse into the potential for settlement. However, their encounters with the indigenous peoples, whom they referred to as the Skraelings, were complex and often fraught with tension. The initial exchanges were likely marked by curiosity and trade, but as with many encounters between different cultures, misunderstanding soon escalated into conflict. Yet, the Viking spirit was indomitable. They returned to Greenland, their tales igniting a flame of curiosity among their kin. Viking sagas recounted the richness of Vinland, prompting further expeditions. The allure of the New World beckoned, and soon more ships set sail, driven by the promise of land, resources, and perhaps a new beginning. Yet, with each journey, the challenges of sustaining a settlement in such a foreign land loomed large. The harsh winters, the struggle for food, and the violent encounters with the indigenous peoples presented formidable obstacles. As the years passed, the allure of Vinland began to fade. The challenges of maintaining a colony became too great, and the Viking presence dwindled. Yet their voyages were not forgotten. The stories of their journeys echoed through generations, inspiring future explorers and igniting the imaginations of those who would follow in their wake. Fast forward several centuries and the world was undergoing significant change. The age of exploration was upon us, and the tales of the Vikings were more than just stories. They were a testament to the human spirit's relentless quest for discovery. In the late 15th century, Christopher Columbus set sail across the Atlantic, forever altering the course of history. But long before Columbus, the Vikings had already crossed those same waters, navigating a path that would eventually lead to the encounter of two worlds. The Vikings' journey to the New World is not merely a chapter in history, but a profound reminder of the power of exploration. Their seafaring genius, characterized by unparalleled navigation skills and an unyielding spirit, opened doors to the unknown and paved the way for future generations. The legacy of Leif Erikson and his fellow explorers serves as a beacon, urging us to look beyond our horizons, to seek new adventures, and to embrace the spirit of discovery that resides within us all. But the story does not end with Leif Erikson. The Viking Age was a tapestry woven from threads of bravery, ambition, and ingenuity. The seafaring culture of the Norsemen was intricately linked to their mythology, their stories, and their understanding of the world. They believed that the oceans were not just barriers, but pathways to new realms filled with promise. The rich oral traditions of the Vikings captured their experiences, both triumphs and trials, and passed them down through generations. The sagas, filled with tales of gods, heroes, and voyages, provided a framework for understanding their world. These narratives were not just entertainment, they were a means of preserving knowledge, values, and the spirit of adventure. One of the most fascinating aspects of Viking exploration was their ability to adapt to various environments. As they traveled from the cold fjords of Norway to the verdant coasts of Newfoundland, they learned to harness the resources around them. Their craftsmanship extended beyond shipbuilding. They were skilled in agriculture, fishing, and hunting. The Vikings were not merely conquerors. They were also settlers who understood the importance of community and cooperation in unfamiliar territories. It was this adaptability that allowed them to thrive in new lands, even if only for a time. The Viking settlement at Meadows, a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Newfoundland, stands as a testament to their presence in North America. Archaeological findings reveal remnants of structures, tools, and artifacts that paint a vivid picture of life in Vinland. This discovery not only confirms the sagas, but also highlights the Vikings' role as early transatlantic explorers. As we delve deeper into their world, we begin to understand the complexities of Viking society. Their voyages were not solely driven by the desire for conquest. They were motivated by trade, exploration, and the pursuit of knowledge. They established trade routes that connected them with distant civilizations, exchanging not only goods but also ideas and cultures. The Vikings were not isolated. They were part of a broader network of interactions that shaped the medieval world. In the grand tapestry of history, the Viking journey to the New World is a reminder of our shared human experience, a quest for discovery, connection, and understanding. Their story challenges us to reconsider our perceptions of exploration and encourages us to embrace the unknown, to navigate the uncharted waters of our own lives with the same courage and curiosity that defined the Vikings. As we stand on the precipice of our own journeys, let us remember the seafaring genius of the Vikings. Their legacy is not confined to the past. It lives on in our desire to explore, to innovate, and to connect with the world around us. The oceans may still be vast and unpredictable, but within them lies the promise of adventure, a promise that beckons us to sail forth into the unknown just as the Vikings did so many centuries ago. At the very edge of the world, where ice meets the sea, lies a land shrouded in mystery and untold stories. Greenland. This immense island, the largest in the world, holds within it secrets of a bygone era, intertwined with the fate of nations. As glacial ice melts and ancient landscapes emerge, we are offered a rare glimpse into the connections that bind continents together. Today, we embark on a journey across the Atlantic, exploring the threads that weave Greenland into the fabric of history, culture, and survival. Imagine, if you will, the year 1492, a time when the world was on the brink of discovery. Christopher Columbus was setting sail across the vast ocean, yet unknown to him, the Norse had already charted these icy waters centuries earlier. The Viking saga is one of adventure, exploration, and an indomitable spirit. It is here, amidst the fjords and glaciers, that we find clues to the Greenland connection, a chain that stretches across the Atlantic, linking the ancient Norse settlers to the New World. The Vikings, led by Eric the Red, arrived in Greenland around the late 10th century. Having been exiled from Norway, Eric sought a new beginning. He named this frozen land Greenland, a clever marketing ploy to attract settlers to its harsh shores. This was not merely a quest for land. It was a search for identity, a desire to establish a legacy. The Norse thrived in this formidable environment, cultivating a unique culture that blended their Scandinavian roots with the indigenous Inuit traditions. But how did the Vikings navigate such treacherous waters, and what drove them to explore beyond their known world? The answer lies in their exceptional seamanship and an insatiable curiosity. The sagas, ancient tales passed down through generations, speak of their journeys across the Atlantic, revealing a profound connection to the land and sea. For the Norse, the ocean was not a barrier. It was a bridge to new opportunities, a lifeline to the unknown. As the centuries passed, the connection between Greenland and the wider world deepened. The 15th century saw a shift in European attitudes toward exploration. The age of discovery was dawning, and nations were vying for supremacy on the high seas. Greenland became a pivotal point in this new era, a strategic location for trade routes and naval power struggles. The island's resources, once the lifeblood of the Norse, now ignited the ambitions of European powers. Fast forward to the 20th century. The world found itself embroiled in conflict, and Greenland's significance was rekindled. During World War II, the United States recognized the strategic advantage of Greenland's position in the North Atlantic. The establishment of military bases transformed the island into a crucial outpost, serving as a buffer against potential threats from Europe. The Greenland connection was no longer just a historical footnote, it was an active player in the global arena. Yet, as the war raged on, the people of Greenland faced their own battles. The influx of American troops brought change to their traditional way of life. The clash of cultures carved a new path for the Inuit communities, who found themselves navigating the complexities of modernity while preserving their rich heritage. The stories of resilience and adaptation resonate deeply, reminding us that the past is never truly behind us. It lives on in the hearts and minds of those who carry it forward. As we delve deeper into the Greenland connection, we uncover the rich tapestry of its indigenous culture. The Inuit, with their profound understanding of the land and sea, have thrived in this harsh environment for thousands of years. Their traditions, stories, and art echo the rhythms of nature, a testament to their enduring relationship with the world around them. The Greenland connection is not merely one of geography, it is a vibrant exchange of ideas, an intertwining of narratives that enriches the understanding of identity and belonging. Through the lens of art, we witness the beauty of this connection. Greenlandic artists draw inspiration from their surroundings, capturing the essence of their culture in stunning works that speak of both struggle and triumph. The intricate carvings, vibrant textiles, and evocative paintings tell stories that transcend language, bridging the gap between past and present. Each piece is a thread in the rich fabric of Greenlandic identity, woven together by the shared experiences of a people who have weathered the storms of history. As the world grapples with the realities of climate change, Greenland stands at the forefront of a global conversation. The melting ice is not just a warning, it is a clarion call to action. The impacts of climate change are felt most acutely in the Arctic, where rising temperatures threaten not just the landscape, but the very way of life for the Inuit people. The Greenland connection thus takes on new dimensions as communities adapt to an ever-changing environment while advocating for their rights and sovereignty. This struggle is not theirs alone. It reflects a broader narrative of resilience in the face of adversity. The fight for recognition and respect reverberates across borders, resonating with indigenous communities worldwide. The connections forged through shared experiences of colonization, environmental degradation, and cultural preservation remind us that we are all part of a larger story, one that transcends geographical boundaries. Now, we turn our gaze toward the future. What does the Greenland connection hold for the generations yet to come? As the world becomes increasingly interconnected, the lessons learned from this majestic island offer invaluable insights into sustainability, community, and the importance of nurturing our environment. The stories of the Norse, the Inuit, and the modern-day inhabitants of Greenland serve as a guiding light, illuminating pathways toward a more equitable and harmonious world. Amidst the challenges, there lies a profound sense of hope. The youth of Greenland are emerging as powerful advocates for their culture and environment, harnessing technology and social media to share their stories with the world. They are not merely inheritors of a legacy, they are active participants in shaping their future. In their hands lies the power to forge new connections, bridging the gaps between the past, present, and future. As we conclude this exploration of the Greenland connection, a chain across the Atlantic, we are left with a deeper appreciation for the intricate relationships that bind us all. From the ancient voyages of the Vikings to the contemporary struggles of the Inuit, the stories of Greenland remind us that our histories are intertwined and our futures are connected. The lessons learned from this remarkable island challenge us to reflect on our own connections to the world and inspire us to envision a future where diversity is celebrated and unity is embraced. In the end, Greenland is more than a geographical location. It is a symbol of resilience, a testament to the enduring human spirit, and a reminder that the chains that connect us can be a source of strength. As we venture forth, may we carry these stories with us, weaving them into the larger narrative of our shared humanity. Together, we can build a future that honors the past while embracing the promise of tomorrow. Imagine waking up each morning to a different landscape, the sun rising over the mountains one day and setting along the beach the next. The thrill of adventure pulses through your veins as you pack your bags, ready to chase the changing seasons. This is the allure of a seasonal base, a lifestyle embraced by many who yearn for the freedom of exploration and the beauty of nature's cycles. Yet, as enticing as this nomadic existence may seem, there exists a counterpoint, a steady rhythm of life rooted in permanence, our permanent homes. Today, we delve into the passionate debate between these two contrasting lifestyles, the seasonal base versus the permanent home. For centuries, humans have been on the move. From ancient nomadic tribes following the herds to modern-day adventurers seeking new experiences, the call of the road has been irresistible. Those who choose seasonal living often relish the idea of living in harmony with the seasons, adapting their lives to the natural world around them. Imagine embracing the vibrant warmth of summer in a coastal town, then retreating to the serene embrace of autumn in the mountains. Each season offers its own unique gifts, creating a tapestry of experiences that enrich the soul. However, let us not overlook the profound comfort and stability that a permanent home provides. The very idea of a single constant place, where memories are woven into the walls, where laughter echoes through the hallways, and where the familiar scent of home greets you upon arrival, can be incredibly grounding. For many, this is where they cultivate their roots, nurture relationships, and create a sanctuary from the chaos of the outside world. As we embark on this journey, let us examine both sides of this compelling debate. What drives people to choose one lifestyle over the other? Can these two ways of living coexist, and what might that look like? To begin, let's explore the world of the seasonal base. Picture a vibrant community of individuals and families who embrace the freedom to roam, their lives dictated not by a fixed address, but by the ebb and flow of nature. For them, life is a series of chapters, each defined by the unique experiences offered by different locations throughout the year. Consider the story of a couple, Sarah and Tom, who have made the leap into this world. They began their journey with a modest van, equipped for travel and adventure. Every winter, they find themselves basking in the sun-drenched beaches of Southern California, soaking in the warmth while the snow blankets their friends back home. As spring arrives, they migrate to the lush valleys of Oregon, where wildflowers burst into bloom and the air is filled with the sweet scent of renewal. By summer, you'll find them nestled in the cool embrace of the Rocky Mountains, hiking trails that seem to whisper secrets of the earth. And as autumn rolls in, they return to the charming towns of New England, where the leaves transform into a canvas of fiery colors. For Sarah and Tom, each location is not just a temporary stop, it's an opportunity to forge connections with others who share their passion for exploration. They have built a community of like-minded souls who gather around campfires, share meals, and exchange stories of their travels. This lifestyle fosters a sense of belonging, not tied to a single place, but rooted in shared experiences. Yet amidst the allure of this transient existence, challenges loom large. The unpredictability of life on the road can lead to feelings of isolation. Friendships can drift as quickly as the seasons change, leaving a void that can be hard to fill. Moreover, the constant packing, unpacking, and the logistics of travel can become overwhelming. As we transition to the concept of a permanent home, reflect on the lives of those who choose to stay put. Imagine a family, Lisa, Mark, and their 2 children, living in a cozy house that has stood for generations. The walls tell stories of laughter, love, and even heartache. Their backyard is a sanctuary filled with the laughter of children playing, while the kitchen serves as the heart of the home, where meals are shared and memories are created. For Lisa and Mark, their home is a fortress against the chaos of life. They have invested time and energy into cultivating their space, growing a garden that yields fresh vegetables and flowers that bloom with the changing seasons. Their community, built over years of shared experiences, provides a network of support and friendship that is invaluable. They know their neighbors, celebrate local events, and find comfort in the familiar routines of life. However, this lifestyle isn't without its own limitations. The desire for adventure can sometimes feel stifled within the confines of four walls. The world outside beckons, and the urge to explore can create a sense of restlessness. For those who yearn for a taste of the unknown, the permanence of home can feel like a double-edged sword, offering stability, but also a sense of being tethered. As we immerse ourselves deeper into this discourse, it becomes clear that both lifestyles offer distinct advantages and challenges. The seasonal-based champions freedom and adventure, while the permanent home embodies stability and community. But what if there was a way to blend the best of both worlds? Innovative thinkers and adventurers are beginning to redefine what it means to live in a home. Tiny houses, eco-villages, and co-housing communities are emerging as solutions to the debate of mobility versus permanence. These creative options allow for a sense of community and connection while still embracing the principles of mobility. Imagine living in a tiny home nestled within a vibrant community where neighbors share resources and experiences, all while having the freedom to travel when the wanderlust strikes. The debate between the seasonal base and permanent home is not merely a matter of preference. It reflects deeper values and priorities. For some, the thrill of new adventures and exploration outweighs the comforts of home. For others, the warmth of familiarity and the stability of community take precedence. As we conclude our exploration, let us reflect on the choices we make and the paths we take. Whether you find your heart drawn to the open road or the familiarity of home, the most important aspect lies in the connections we forge and the lives we touch along the way. In a world that often feels divided, perhaps the key to harmony lies not in choosing one over the other, but in embracing both aspects of our existence. So, as you ponder your own journey, consider the landscapes that call to you and the homes that shape your identity. Whether you are a wanderer at heart or a steadfast homebody, remember, every choice we make shapes our story, and it is within those stories that the essence of our lives truly unfolds. Deep in the rolling hills of rural America lies a small town, Butternuts, whose name echoes with the whispers of history. This quaint village has long been a canvas for the stories of those who came before us, their legacies entwined with the land. But what if I told you that beneath its serene surface lies a mystery, a question that has puzzled historians and adventurers alike? Was Butternuts a center for trade, or was it a place of exploration and discovery? Imagine a time long before the first settlers arrived, when the land was rich with the sounds of nature, untouched by the hands of civilization. Indigenous peoples roamed these valleys, navigating the waterways that wound through the terrain, living in harmony with the natural world. They traded goods, ideas, and cultures, setting the stage for the future that would unfold with the arrival of European explorers. As we peel back the layers of Butternut's history, we find ourselves in the 17th century, a pivotal moment in time when explorers from across the ocean were drawn to the vast opportunities that awaited them in the New World. The allure of untapped resources and the hope of new trade routes beckoned to adventurers, igniting their imaginations and driving them into uncharted territories. Butternuts, with its strategic location and fertile land, quickly became a focal point for both trade and exploration. The first European to set foot in this region was a man whose name still resonates through the annals of history: Henry Hudson. In 1609, Hudson embarked on a journey that would change the course of American history forever. As he sailed up the river that would later bear his name, he stumbled upon the lush landscapes of what is now Butternuts. His detailed accounts of the area's natural resources ignited interest among merchants and investors in the Old World. But was Hudson merely an explorer, or did he have trade in mind as well? Hudson's interactions with the indigenous people were marked by a mingling of curiosity and commerce. The natives were eager to trade furs and goods, while Hudson and his crew sought provisions and information about the land. This initial exchange set the stage for what would become a burgeoning trade network, with butternuts at its very heart. As the years progressed, the influx of settlers transformed Butternuts into a bustling hub. The arrival of the Dutch in the early 17th century marked the beginning of a new chapter in the region's history. They established trade relationships with the indigenous peoples, exchanging European goods for valuable furs. The rivers that once served as pathways for exploration now became vital arteries of commerce. But what drove this relentless pursuit of trade? Was it mere economic ambition, or was there a deeper yearning for understanding and connection? The answer to this question can be found in the stories of the settlers themselves. Many of them were not just looking to profit from the land, they sought to learn from the indigenous peoples who had called it home for generations. They listened to tales of the land's secrets, the hidden resources, and the spiritual significance of the surroundings. The settlers' curiosity often blurred the lines between trade and exploration, creating a complex tapestry of relationships that defined Butternuts. As we delve deeper into the 18th century, the dynamics within Butternuts shifted once again. With the arrival of the English, the landscape of trade and exploration became even more intricate. The competition for resources intensified, leading to conflicts between various factions. The indigenous peoples, once willing collaborators, found themselves caught in the crossfire of colonial ambitions. The question of whether Butternuts was a site for trade or exploration became increasingly complicated as the lines between the two began to blur. Throughout the 1700s, Butternuts became a melting pot of cultures, ideas, and interests. The settlers established trading posts where goods from far and wide converged. Furs, grains, textiles, and tools flowed through the area, creating a vibrant marketplace that attracted traders from distant lands. This economic boom fueled a sense of exploration as settlers ventured further into the wilderness, seeking new territories to claim and exploit. Yet, amid this frenzy of activity, we must not forget the voices of the indigenous peoples who were deeply affected by these changes. Their knowledge of the land was invaluable, and their willingness to share it often stemmed from a desire to forge alliances in the face of encroachment. Trade, in many ways, became a means of survival as the indigenous communities sought to adapt to the rapidly changing world around them. The 19th century ushered in a new era for Butternuts. The Industrial Revolution transformed the landscape, bringing advancements in technology and transportation. The once quiet town became a bustling center of activity, with roads, railroads, and canals weaving through the countryside. Trade became more efficient, and exploration took on a new dimension as settlers pushed further westward in search of new opportunities. Butternuts stood at a crossroads, embodying the duality of trade and exploration. As settlers ventured into the unknown, they brought with them their desires for wealth and prosperity, but also their dreams of discovery. The land was no longer just a place to trade goods. It became a frontier of possibilities waiting to be uncovered. As we reflect on the legacy of Butternuts, we are left with a compelling question. What does it mean to explore? Is it merely the act of venturing into the unknown? Or is it also about the connections we forge along the way? The stories of Butternuts remind us that exploration is not just about discovering new lands, it is about understanding the people and cultures that inhabit them. Today, as we walk the streets of Butternuts, we are surrounded by the echoes of the past. The remnants of trading posts, old maps, and artifacts tell the stories of those who came before us, their hopes and dreams interwoven with the fabric of this community. Butternuts stands as a testament to the complex interplay between trade and exploration, a reminder that history is rarely black and white. In closing, the mystery of butternuts invites us to ponder our own journeys of exploration. Are we merely seeking to conquer new frontiers? Or are we willing to embrace the rich tapestry of human connection that lies within? As we navigate our own paths, let us remember the lessons of butternuts, where trade and exploration dance together in a harmonious quest for understanding and discovery. The legacy of this small town reminds us that every journey is not just about where we go, but also about who we become along the way. Imagine standing on a rugged shoreline, the wind whipping through your hair, the salty spray of the ocean misting your face. Before you, the vast Atlantic stretches into the horizon, a world of adventure and uncertainty. It is here, in this unforgiving yet beautiful land known as Vinland, that the Norse once carved their mark. But just as quickly as they arrived, they vanished, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in mystery. Why did the Vikings abandon this promising land? Today, we delve into the enigma of Vinland's abandonment, exploring the myriad reasons that led to the departure of these legendary seafarers. The tale begins in the late 10th century, when the sagas tell of a man named Leif Erikson, the son of the famed Eric the Red. Driven by tales of rich lands to the west, Leif set sail from Greenland, navigating treacherous waters and braving the unknown. After a harrowing journey, he and his crew landed on the shores of what is now Newfoundland, Canada. They called this new world Vinland, a name that spoke of its lush, fertile landscapes and abundant resources. For a time, it seemed as though the Norse had found a paradise. But paradise can often be deceiving. Despite the initial allure of Vinland, the Norse faced countless challenges. The climate was harsher than they anticipated, and the land's resources, though plentiful, were not easily tamed. The Vikings, accustomed to the colder, harsher conditions of Greenland and Scandinavia, struggled to adapt to the new environment. The very soil that promised sustenance proved to be unforgiving. Crops failed and the food supplies dwindled. The lure of Vinland was becoming a bitter reality. As the seasons changed, so too did the fortunes of the Norse. They encountered the indigenous peoples of the land, known as the Skraelings. Initially, there were exchanges of goods and resources. The Vikings traded iron tools for furs and food, creating a fragile peace. However, as tensions began to rise, the cooperation that once existed turned to conflict. The Skraelings, protective of their home, clashed with the Norse, who were encroaching on their territory. The Vikings, warriors at heart, were unprepared for the fierce resistance they encountered. The raids turned into skirmishes, and the once promising settlement began to fracture. Stories of violence and hostility permeated the sagas, but they only tell part of the story. As the Norse grappled with these conflicts, they were also facing internal struggles. The leadership within their ranks was divided, and the discipline that had once unified them began to dissipate. The harshness of the land, combined with the strife among themselves and with the Skraelings, created an atmosphere of uncertainty and fear. But perhaps the most pressing issue facing the Vikings was the relentless pull of their homeland. The allure of Vinland faded as tales of hardship reached Greenland. Families were torn apart by the decision to stay or return. The call of the familiar, the safety of home, became a siren song that many could not resist. The stories of the brave adventurers who had crossed the ocean began to morph into cautionary tales, warning of the dangers and perils of life in Vinland. The vibrant dreams of a new life turned into haunting memories of loss and struggle. Moreover, the Norse were not the only people navigating these waters. As the Vikings faced challenges from the indigenous peoples and their own internal divisions, the wider political landscape of Europe was shifting. The rise of powerful kingdoms and feudal systems in Scandinavia pulled attention away from the distant shores of Vinland. The allure of wealth and power back home, combined with the increasing difficulties abroad, made the decision to abandon Vinland all the more palpable. With each passing year, the once thriving settlement dwindled. The longhouses that had been filled with laughter and camaraderie fell silent. The fields that had been tilled with hope became overgrown, reclaiming the land as it had been before. It became clear that the dream of Vinland was slipping away, like sand through the fingers of those who had dared to grasp it. The last remnants of the Viking presence in Vinland were fading, their stories becoming whispers carried by the wind. Yet even as the Norse turned their backs on Vinland, the legacy of their journey endured. The sagas tell of their trials and tribulations, and through these tales, the spirit of adventure and exploration lived on. The abandonment of Vinland was not simply a retreat, but a poignant reminder of the human spirit's quest for discovery. A quest that, while sometimes fraught with danger, is woven into the very fabric of our history. As we piece together the fragments of this story, we are reminded that the Norse were not the only ones to explore uncharted waters. The cycles of migration, settlement, and abandonment are part of the broader tapestry of human existence. The Vikings left behind not only physical remnants, but also a legacy of courage, resilience, and the pursuit of the unknown. In the end, the question of why the Vikings abandoned Vinland is not just about the loss of a settlement, but a reflection of humanity's enduring struggle against the forces of nature, societal change, and the longing for home. The echoes of their journey resonate through the ages, urging future generations to continue the pursuit of adventure, wherever it may lead. And so, as we stand once more on the shores of Vinland, we are reminded that every tale of abandonment carries within it the seeds of new beginnings. The footprints left in the sands of time tell us that while some journeys may end in retreat, others spark the flame of exploration, igniting the next great adventure. The spirit of the Vikings, their dreams and aspirations, may have left the shores of Vinland, but their legacy continues to inspire those who dare to venture into the unknown. What if I told you that a land of abundance, rich in resources and teeming with life, existed just beyond the horizon of medieval Europe? A land known as Vinland, the first European settlement in North America, which has faded from the pages of history like a whisper in the wind. Today we embark on a journey to explore the forgotten echoes of this remarkable place and the silence that enveloped medieval Europe, leading to its obscurity. Picture a world where the Viking sagas spoke not only of gods and heroes, but also of a land where grapes grew wild and the summers were warm enough to support thriving communities. This was Vinland, a place described by Norse explorers who sailed from Greenland, led by the intrepid Leif Erikson around the year 1000 AD. Yet, despite its promise, the memory of this extraordinary settlement slipped into the shadows of time, leaving only faint traces of its existence. As we delve into the annals of history, we find ourselves confronted with a paradox. The medieval period, often characterized by its rigid structures and the dominance of the church, was simultaneously a time of exploration and discovery. It was an age where the known world expanded, but for Vinland, the story took a different turn. Why did this vibrant settlement, with its potential for trade and cultural exchange, fade from the collective consciousness of Europe? To understand this phenomenon, we must first grasp the significance of storytelling in medieval society. The tales of the Norse sagas, passed down through generations, were not merely entertainment. They were a means of preserving history, identity, and culture. The sagas brought to life the adventures of those who ventured into the unknown. Yet, as Christianity spread across Europe, the old ways began to be overshadowed. The Norse sagas, once celebrated, were gradually eclipsed by narratives that aligned more closely with the teachings of the Church. Imagine a society where the Viking explorers, who once traversed vast oceans, began to be seen through a different lens. Their stories became less about discovery and more about conquest and sin. The rich tapestry of Norse mythology and adventure unraveled, replaced by a narrative that emphasized the virtues of Christian piety. In this cultural shift, Vinland was not just forgotten, it was rendered unworthy of remembrance. As the church grew in power, so too did its influence over the narratives that shaped public perception. The tales of Vinland, filled with the promise of a bountiful land, stood in stark contrast to the church's teachings on humility and the afterlife. This divergence created a silence that echoed through the hearts of the faithful. Vinland, once a beacon of adventure, became a mere footnote in the annals of history. The Viking Age was a time of great exploration, yet it was also marked by fierce competition and conflict. As the kingdoms of Europe consolidated their power, the focus shifted inward. The Crusades, a series of religious wars, drew attention away from distant lands and towards a holy mission. As knights donned their armor and set sail for the Holy Land, the stories of Vinland faded further into obscurity. We must also consider the geography of memory. The vastness of the Atlantic Ocean, once seen as a highway for exploration, became a barrier that separated the New World from the Old. The longships that had once carried brave souls across these waters were now stilled, their sails flapping in the winds of forgetfulness. With each passing generation, the stories of Vinland became less tangible, like the mist rising from the sea, a memory that could not be grasped. But what of the remnants left behind? Archaeological discoveries at sites like Lens or Meadows in Newfoundland have provided a glimpse into the Viking presence in North America. Artifacts, such as iron tools and remnants of structures, speak to the reality of Vinland. Yet, even these findings, remarkable as they are, struggle to penetrate the silence that shrouds this chapter of history. The excitement of discovery is often overshadowed by the question, why was this knowledge not embraced by the wider world? The silence surrounding Vinland can also be attributed to the shifting priorities of medieval European society. The rise of feudalism transformed the landscape of power and influence. Lords and vassals focused their ambitions on territorial claims within Europe, often overlooking the potential of distant lands. With the consolidation of power came a narrowing of vision. The allure of Vinland, with its promise of resources and opportunity, was drowned out by the clamour of local rivalries and the quest for dominion. As we journey through the landscape of memory, it becomes evident that the narrative of Vinland was not just a tale of exploration, but also a reflection of the changing tides of society. The once celebrated sagas were gradually replaced by stories that served the interests of the powerful. The voices of the Norse explorers who dared to venture into the unknown were silenced, leaving behind only fragments of their adventures. Amidst this silence, the ocean continued its relentless ebb and flow, carrying with it the whispers of those who had come before. The Norse sagas, which once spoke of lands beyond the horizon, became relics of a bygone era, their stories buried beneath layers of time. The medieval world, with its rigid structures and shifting allegiances, turned its gaze inward, forgetting the windswept shores of Vinland. Yet, even in this silence, there lies a glimmer of hope. The quest for knowledge, the desire to uncover the forgotten, has never truly waned. As historians and archaeologists sift through the sands of time, they seek to breathe life into the echoes of Vinland. The story may have faded, but it has not been entirely lost. Each discovery, each artifact, offers a new thread in the tapestry of history, reminding us that the past is not as distant as it may seem. As we reflect on the legacy of Vinland, we are reminded of the importance of storytelling. It is through the narratives we choose to embrace that we shape our understanding of the world. The silence that enveloped Vinland serves as a cautionary tale, urging us to remember the voices of those who came before us. In this age of information, Let us not forget the power of stories, for they hold the key to unlocking the mysteries of our shared human experience. As we close this chapter, let us carry with us the echoes of Vinland. Though the land may be forgotten, its spirit lives on in the hearts of those who dare to dream, explore, and seek the truth. The silence may have prevailed for centuries, but the quest for understanding continues, a journey that knows no bounds. In remembering Vinland, we honor the explorers, the storytellers, and the rich tapestry of our collective history. Across the vast, windswept landscapes of Iceland, where the echoes of ancient sagas linger in the crisp air, a remarkable journey is unfolding. The sagas, those timeless tales of heroism, adventure, and the complexities of human nature, have long captured the imaginations of readers and scholars alike. But what happens when these narratives, steeped in history, come under the scrutiny of modern scholarship? How does one approach the delicate balance between reverence for the past and the critical eye of inquiry? The rediscovery of the sagas is not merely a tale of revival. It is a narrative filled with scholars, doubt, and the relentless pursuit of truth. As we embark on this journey, we will traverse the intricate landscape of literary, historical, and cultural scholarship, unearthing the layers of meaning embedded within these ancient texts. The saga of the sagas began in the 13th century, a time when Icelandic storytellers crafted narratives that would endure through the ages. These tales, often rooted in historical events and figures, were passed down through generations, their oral traditions eventually finding their way onto parchment. Yet, as centuries rolled on, the sagas faced neglect, lost in the shadow of more contemporary literature. It wasn't until the 19th century, with the rise of Romanticism, that a renewed interest in the sagas began to blossom. Scholars and enthusiasts, drawn to the allure of Viking heritage, sought to resurrect these narratives from their dusty obscurity. They saw in the sagas a reflection of a heroic past, a connection to a time when bravery and valor defined the human experience, but this revival would not be without its challenges. Enter the figures of this intellectual renaissance. The scholars who dared to confront the sagas with both admiration and skepticism. Among them was the formidable Jón Sigurðsson, a leading figure in Iceland's national awakening. His fervent belief in the sagas as a cornerstone of Icelandic identity propelled him to advocate for their preservation and study. Yet Sigurðsson and others faced a daunting task. How could they reconcile the romanticized visions of the past with the realities of historical accuracy? As the scholars delved deeper into the texts, they stumbled upon a labyrinth of contradictions. The sagas often blurred the lines between history and myth, truth and fiction. For every tale of a valiant warrior, there emerged doubts about the veracity of the events described. The more they investigated, the more questions arose. Were these accounts reliable, or merely products of imaginative storytelling? The skepticism extended beyond the texts themselves. The scholars grappled with the issue of authorship. Who were the true voices behind these sagas? Some were penned by anonymous authors, while others bore the marks of specific individuals. This anonymity raised further questions about the authenticity of the narratives. Did the authors embellish their tales for dramatic effect, or were they faithful chroniclers of their times? As the 20th century dawned, the academic landscape shifted once more. The advent of new historical methodologies and critical approaches opened doors to fresh interpretations. Scholars began to apply rigorous analysis to the sagas, employing techniques from linguistics, anthropology, and archaeology. This interdisciplinary approach breathed new life into the sagas and paved the way for a more nuanced understanding of their significance. Yet, as the dust settled on this newfound scholarship, another layer of doubt emerged. The very act of interpretation raised questions about bias and perspective. What were the implications of reading these texts through modern lenses? Could contemporary scholars truly grasp the cultural and historical contexts that shaped the sagas? These concerns ignited debates within the academic community. Some argued for a return to a more romanticized view of the sagas, while others championed a critical examination that acknowledged the text's complexities. The struggle between these two schools of thought mirrored the ongoing tension between faith in tradition and the quest for scholarly rigor. As the 21st century unfolds, the rediscovery of the sagas continues to evolve. New generations of scholars, equipped with advanced technologies and methodologies, are unearthing insights that were once unimaginable. Digital humanities, for instance, enable researchers to analyze vast amounts of data, uncovering patterns and connections that enhance our understanding of these ancient narratives. Yet, with each discovery, the spectre of doubt remains. The sagas, while cherished artifacts of literature, are also mirrors reflecting our own uncertainties. They compel us to confront the very nature of storytelling, how narratives shape our identities, beliefs, and understandings of the world. Within this rich tapestry of inquiry, we find not just the echoes of Icelandic history, but also a profound exploration of human experience. The sagas remind us that the past is not a static entity, but a dynamic interplay of voices, interpretations, and meanings. They invite us to question, to engage, and to seek our own truths within the narratives of those who came before us. As we conclude this chapter on the rediscovery of the sagas, one thing is certain: the dialogue between scholarship and doubt will persist. Each generation will grapple with the stories that have shaped their culture, challenged their beliefs, and enriched their understanding of what it means to be human. The sagas are not merely relics of the past. They are living texts, continuously reinterpreted and reinvigorated, guiding us through the complexities of our shared heritage. In the end, the journey of rediscovery is not just about reclaiming the sagas. It is about engaging with our own narratives, confronting our own doubts, and fostering a deeper connection to the stories that bind us across time and space. As we ponder the saga's enduring legacy, let us embrace the uncertainties and revel in the richness of the tales that invite us to explore the very essence of our humanity. In the late 20th century, a discovery was made that would reshape our understanding of human history. It was a moment that echoed through the annals of archaeology and sparked imaginations worldwide. Enter the Ingstad expedition, a journey into the past that unearthed a hidden village, giving us a glimpse into a world long forgotten. But how did a team of intrepid explorers from Norway uncover this hidden gem, and what stories did the land whisper to them? Picture this: a rugged landscape, the wind howling like a ghost through the valleys, the air crisp and biting. It was in the early 1960s when archaeologist Helge Ingstad and his wife, Anna Stina Ingstad, set their sights on a remote region of Newfoundland, Canada. Their mission was not merely to excavate, it was to delve into the mysteries of the Viking Age and the legendary Norse settlements that had once roamed the earth. The excitement crackled in the air as they ventured into the vast wilderness, where the echoes of history lay buried beneath layers of soil and time. The couple had long been captivated by the tales of Norse explorers reaching North America long before Columbus sailed the Atlantic. They had meticulously studied sagas and historical texts, piecing together clues that hinted at Viking presence in this part of the world. In their hearts, they believed that somewhere, hidden from the modern eye, lay evidence of these ancient seafarers. Little did they know that their quest would lead them to a remarkable discovery that would validate centuries of speculation. As the Ingstads began their excavation in Lans or Meadows, a quaint fishing village on the northern tip of Newfoundland, they were met with skepticism. Many dismissed the idea of Viking settlements in North America as mere myth. However, their determination was unwavering. With each spade of earth they turned, they unearthed artifacts that told a compelling story. A story of skilled craftsmen, adventurous spirits, and a way of life that thrived in harmony with the land. Among the first findings was a small iron tool known as a sword pommel. Its presence was a tantalizing hint that these were not just wanderers, but skilled warriors and traders who had navigated the treacherous waters of the North Atlantic. The discovery of a forge where iron was smelted from local bog ore further solidified their theory. Here, in this unassuming spot, lay the evidence of a community that had once thrived, an outpost of Norse culture nestled in the rugged beauty of the New World. But the Ingstad expedition was not just about artifacts. It was also about understanding the lives of the people who once inhabited this hidden village. The excavation revealed the remnants of longhouses, constructed in the traditional Norse style, with timber frames and grass roofs. Each structure told a story of family, community, and survival amidst the harsh conditions of the North Atlantic. As the months rolled on, the team uncovered more than just physical artifacts. They stumbled upon a way of life that resonated with the tales of the sagas, stories of exploration, of navigating the unknown, and of forging connections with indigenous peoples. The Ingstads discovered that the Norse were not simply invaders, but rather a part of a complex tapestry of cultures that existed long before their arrival. Every artifact discovered seemed to breathe life into the narrative of the Norse settlers. The remnants of tools, pottery, and even animal bones painted a vivid picture of daily life. It was a world where the rhythm of the seasons dictated the pace of existence, where community gatherings echoed with laughter and stories around the fire, and where the sea served as both a provider and a formidable adversary. Yet this expedition was not without its challenges. The harsh Newfoundland winters tested the resolve of the Ingstad team as snow blanketed the site and icy winds howled through the trees. The struggle for survival mirrored the challenges faced by the Viking settlers centuries before. But through it all, the spirit of discovery prevailed. The Ingstads and their team persevered, driven by the belief that they were on the brink of unveiling a monumental chapter in history. In 1960, after years of meticulous digging, the findings were unveiled to the world. The site was officially recognized as a Norse settlement, the first of its kind discovered in North America. The doubters were silenced, and the Ingstad expedition became a beacon of hope for historians and archaeologists alike. The implications of their discoveries reached far beyond the shores of Newfoundland, altering our understanding of Viking exploration and interaction with indigenous cultures. The Ingstad's work sparked further interest and research into the Viking presence in North America, leading to a deeper understanding of their maritime capabilities and cultural exchanges. It opened the door to ongoing discussions about the Norse sagas, urging scholars to re-evaluate the narratives that had been passed down through generations. The hidden village had emerged from the shadows, revealing a rich tapestry of human history that deserved to be celebrated. But what of the people who inhabited this settlement? As we trace the footsteps of the Norse settlers, we find ourselves pondering their motivations. What drove them across the icy expanse of the Atlantic? Was it a quest for new lands, riches, or perhaps a desire to escape the confines of their known world? The Ingstad expedition did not just uncover artifacts. It unearthed the dreams and aspirations of those who dared to venture into the unknown. The stories of these early explorers remind us that human curiosity knows no bounds. It compels us to seek out new horizons, to brave the elements, and to forge connections with those who inhabit different worlds. The Ingstad's journey illuminated the importance of understanding our collective past, for it is in these narratives that we find the threads that bind us together across time and space. As we reflect on the Ingstad expedition and its profound impact, we are left with a lingering sense of wonder. The hidden village revealed through their tireless efforts stands as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the unyielding quest for knowledge. It invites us to explore the stories that lie beneath our feet, waiting to be uncovered and shared with future generations. So, as we close this chapter of our exploration, let us carry forward the lessons learned from the Ingstad expedition. Let us embrace the curiosity that drives us to explore the uncharted territories of our past, for in doing so we honor the legacies of those who came before us. Each hidden village, each artifact, each story is a reminder that history is not merely a collection of dates and events. It is a living, breathing tapestry woven from the fabric of human experience. And as we continue to unravel its mysteries, we find ourselves more connected to the world and to each other than ever before.